We are live. Real time. We are live. Hello to everyone who's viewing this right now, all those people, and also to the people who are watching it in the future. My name is Nathan Gabriel, and this is my first stream. Lead Molly. This is cool. I'm currently checking myself out 3 times in a row. Looking good. Things are looking good. See myself on my webpage. Got 2 viewers. Oh my goodness. Hello, 2 viewers. How you doing? Hoi hoi. Once again, my name is Nathan Gabriel, and I am a musician. I am a busker, gamer. I play a lot of games. I make a lot of music. My main profession of music, I actually earn a living doing it. So I busk on the streets every day, 3 hours, 2 hours, any hours. And yeah, it's good fun. It's good fun. In fact, today was a great day. Sun was out, and had a good time. People were very generous. I busk locally, so naturally, there's always that thought that perhaps the town might not enjoy music in their streets, but I've made a living out of it and very generous. But yeah, if you are a viewer on this thing, and I'm looking at you, looking right at you, see if you can type into the chat. I'm testing things out today. We're testing things, we're checking things out. I'm going to click on this button and you'll see maybe if it works. I've been working on this stuff for weeks. Last week. My camera should appear down the bottom left. So let's see that. Watch this transition. And I'm really small. Hello there. Hello everyone. Just like to let you all know that I'm live, and let me just go back to the big size just to make sure that all works. And we're back. We got a big voice. We got a big man voice. So yeah, today's stream was basically me just checking things out and letting things go the way they are meant to. And I'm actually watching myself in kind of real time. Like it's there's a delay between things, but it's really cool because I get to see if it's actually working. So first of all, I started about, I think it's only about 5 days ago, 6 days ago. I was like, you know what? I really want to start streaming because, through the entirety of the COVID pandemic, I ended up busking. And yes, we got a first comment from my girl, my one and only. There she is, Vanessa Joanne 444. Hello there. Awesome. All right, I'm going to see if the chat works. So I'm going to click here. Thank you, Mike. This is cool. Everything seems to be working. But yeah, I ended up buying so much equipment for this venture. Whenever you start something new and you're like, I'm going to go full steam ahead. I'm not going to go, just test it out, just try a new camera. No, I'm going to get the good stuff. I'm going to go for it. Look at this. Wait, I'm reversed, but check the lights out. Lights. If I tilt that up a little bit, whoa, amazing. Typical streamer stuff. I'm trying to, I've watched a bunch of streamers to, kind of see what the layout is nowadays, and I'm using, some of the new software. I've never used this software before, so it's been a big learning curve for me. Back in the day, I used to do, very gaming related stuff. I used to build models and in 3D, and I used to animate them. I'm not a really good drawer, but I was quite good at being able to emulate live models in 3D. Let me know, my girl, and anyone else in the comments if you can hear my voice and all that and it's sounding okay. That would actually really help me. But yeah, there's the amount of equipment you have to get. My goodness, look at this camera. Look at the quality of this camera. God, you'll see my skin. But it's a really good camera. Got the Logitech Brio. I thought, you know what, I'm gonna get the best one I can for this moment, especially in the future when we can have qualities. Yes, quality is on. All right. I can even like use my booster chair. I'm only like 4 foot, so go up a little. All right, here we go. Hey, up here. Yeah, the amount of equipment you have to get if you follow this venture kind of like freaks me out a bit. I thought, oh yeah, I'll just get a new camera, and then I'll just use the NVIDIA shadow stuff capture on my card and just play games. What's so hard about that? You gotta go research it, and my goodness, camera, microphone, new music stuff to cabling and everything like that to make sure all the music is able to come through properly. And I'm going to, on this stream, check my guitar out. I think, where is it? Look at this. There she is. There she is, right in the middle. We're going to play some guitar, and we're going to test the audio quality out of that as well, because it ended up taking me about 3.5 to 4 hours this morning to be able to actually, stream live music, because knowing me, I can't do it the easy way. I can't just like hook a guitar up and just have no effects and just play like that. No, of course not. I have to go by route. I have to make sure that all my effects are on and sounds good. And I created in this program that I'm using Streamlabs OBS right now. Now, I got told that it was like a CPU hog, and everything will start to slow down when I start to run it. But I don't know about you, but it seems to be working pretty good. But I've made sure to, spend that time this morning and getting the music to be able to come through with all the effects. I've actually got Ableton Live open right now for me, and in the future, what I want to do with the streams is have the program show on the screen. Very simple. I can use a thing called desktop capture, and that just puts it on the screen. But for now, this was really an introduction stream. But yeah, I'll definitely be able to work on music and be able to showcase, how I and what my workflow is when I'm using Ableton Live. But currently, right now, I've just got Streamlabs open. I'm not streaming any games, so it's not having to do any work at all. That's another thing that I bought. So I bought the Elgato HD Pro, and this thing, I gotta admit, is insane. Like, you just plug it into your computer and plug whatever console you want into it, your PS5, your Xbox One, whatever you want, even the Nintendo Switch, even your Wii, even the Wii. And you're able to, capture that footage of the game real time and put it straight on the computer, and it literally doesn't slow anything down, because it's not having to do anything on the computer whatsoever other than show an image. So the Elgato itself does everything between. Same. Anyway, I was playing Demon Souls recently, and I just, for the offline usage, I wanted to see how it all worked. And once again, it felt like I've been doing this for a long time. Like, this took a while to be able to do. But at the end of the day, it's really exciting. It's really exciting. I don't know about you, but when you're on the train for so long in a specific kind of field, start to, no matter what, I've got big passion for music. I'm a guitarist, I'm a singer, I'm a songwriter. I love doing music. Been doing it for the last 10 years, and when you make anything that you love a job, naturally you're going to not like it sometimes. And I've watched so many interviews and read so many things on my favorite artists and whatnot. It's just a tried and true formula, but to keep the passion going, you got to mix it up sometimes, and you got to go in the deep end. And so I thought, you know what, I've loved games forever. It's been a part of my family for so long. And I thought, you know what, why am I not doing this? Which is insane. YouTube is insane for games and stuff. It gives me the chance to be able to like talk to people in a different forum, to be able to share the way I work and what I do, and just share the energy of having fun and playing some games. And even for myself on a personal level, it allows me to not be so lone wolf when playing stuff, and actually being able to maybe build a community and have a bit of fun and banter throughout it all. Joyful experience. Got to tell you, there's been moments in my life where things get pretty hectic, and you know it was awesome watching people stream, and it got me through a lot of stuff. So I'm like, hey, that would be cool. What if I joined that crew? That'd be fun. So yeah, once again, I am a musician, but I've only been doing it. Not only, not only. 10 years is a long time. It is a long time, but I haven't really played music my whole life or anything like that. Music was part of my family for a very long time, and it's surrounded a lot of my day-to-day sense of how music is listened to, when clean, or um, things like that. So it really sticks with you. But so for whatever reason, I really enjoyed it. And as I grew older, my sister, she was a guitarist and singer, and she played at her school, and it got me so much in love with the idea of like singing and music, and to go back. First time I started to just feel like, okay, I want to actually do music as like an actual job, which at the time I was like, music is a job? What? You're either a celebrity or you're not. You're playing at the pub or something. But you didn't know 10 years later. But I thought, I ended up, just falling in love with, playing guitar. Not singing. I'm actually a singer now. But at the time I was really focused on guitar, and it all started with Metallica. It all started with Joe Satriani. And when I found out that Joe Satriani taught Kirk Hammett Metallica, a whole world opened up. And I remember, don't sue me, but I used LimeWire back in the day as a kid. I bought all these albums now, so hopefully I've morally done the right thing. But yeah, downloaded a couple of Joe Satriani songs, and I'd never heard instrumental music. Well, to a degree, one of my favorite albums is the Riverdance album, and quite a lot of instruments. Whereas having a few songs that are just drums, bass, guitar, and what the possibility of that is, it's insane. It's insane. It actually blows my mind back then about like the possibility, and even now, like some things you hear and you think, oh yeah, there must be a synth or something like that, ends up being want to be a little taller, ends up being a guitar, and it's pretty dumbfounding, especially nowadays. Obviously, with the added benefit turning guitar into synths and all these little things that you can do with the audio. But yeah, so after Joe Satriani, I realized that, oh, I love guitar. Guitar's the thing that I love. And so I played it for a little bit, and I was a part of, in my high school, I was 17, 16, 17, when I kind of picked up the guitar as like a, play it for 10 minutes every day, whatever, kind of strum a little bit, show off a little bit at school if I learnt, a really easy, but what people think is, they don't know that it's, but some really easy riffs or something. And you know, I don't know. There was this. It ended up, getting into my head a little bit about like, wait a second, starting to sound like some of the songs I've been listening to. That's possible? That's possible. What? Um, and so yeah, I ended up just following guitar, and I started listening to Joe Satriani more. And one of the songs, the first song I listened to that really, pardon me, that really got me was "Love Thing" by Joe Satriani, and "Always with You Always." And those two songs ended up discovering were like most people's favorite songs of Joe Satriani. And at this point in time, he'd already released, several. Thank you so much for the follow, Karim21K. I appreciate that. Hell yeah. And so, welcome to the stream, by the way. I'm talking about me It's all about me at the moment. The introduction of who I am, gamer. And at this point, we're talking about, yeah, just how Joe Satriani was. And Vanessa, my girl, she's followed as well. It took you 20 minutes, but here she is. Thank you so much. Love you so much. And yeah, always with you, always with me. And also, actually, that's another thing. That's another thing. So these follows that are coming through, awesome. They're not coming through as audio for me. That's something I need to set up. So that's a good little test for me to remember. So thank you for that. You have no idea how much you're helping me just by following and stuff at this point, because it's like, not only are you following me, which is cool, we get to see this face all the time. Oh, lucky you. But also you get to help me figure out how this stream is working, because at this moment it's kind of I'm wondering if something's going to blow up or anything. Anyway, back to it. So naturally, you know, when I heard these songs, you know, it really blew my mind. Possibilities, you know, just increased from there. And when I, you know, my first thing that I really listened to after those two songs, where it was very guitar based, was Metallica. Metallica at that point, I love Metallica already, but there's something that shifts when you start seeing and looking at it a little bit differently than you did before. And it's pretty incredible. Like, and it's, you know, nowadays it's quite attached to me. Karim21KO, yes, I do have a YouTube channel, and unfortunately the ending name of it is a name that I used to have for myself in the games. But you can click on my YouTube link in my about page. I've set it up. I'll do it actually with you. I'll do it real time. If I go to the about area of my Twitch page and you scroll down a bit, you might see on the right hand side of my bio the Facebook, Twitter, album landing page, YouTube, Instagram. You are set. Just get 24/7 of me. What more can you want? Holy. Anyway, thank you so much. Please check that out. I've got so many videos, so much content, and obviously these streams. So that's another point that really helps me. These streams will actually start to place in my YouTube. Then I'm going to do TikTok, do Instagram, Facebook. I'm going to chop them up and mix them around and try to make them fun as well on top of this. And yeah, so thank you so much, Karim. Appreciate that. So yeah, Metallica really, you know, gave me an outlet to be able to start what I didn't know at the time, but singing. Thank you so much. Yeah, I appreciate that. That's awesome. Thank you. I can't wait to keep seeing you. So that's great, man. Thank you so much. Metallica really showed me the singing capabilities, especially of James Hetfield, which to this day, James Hetfield is one of a kind. I love that guy's voice. And, you know, when you combine that with the fact that he's also an insanely good guitarist, you know, all those riffs you hear, one guy. It's one guy. He's creating the main riffs, and then you've got Kirk Hammett creating the solos and harmonizing those main riffs. But James Hetfield is a riff god. So you should definitely check out. I think there's a video, and I'll do this next stream. I'll start to learn the process of this and being able to like desktop capture, show you some stuff. I'll learn how to. I'm not sure if there's rules on copyright or stuff like that, but yeah, go on YouTube and type in like James Hetfield and Guitar Shop or Guitar, something like that, and he plays all the riffs that you know and love from Metallica if you love Metallica. But it's just great seeing and hearing that he like created it all, and the lyrics as well. Like nowadays, as I'm watching a lot of people release their music, when you actually look at how many people wrote the song, insane. There's 12, 14, 15 people at a time who are writing one song. And, you know, back in the day, obviously you had 1, 2, 3 people a part of the band, you know, Queen, Freddie Mercury, these people, they're just writing their own music. They don't have anyone changing, altering or whatnot. But, you know, back on topic, Metallica, one of a kind, and it really showed me just how much I love music. And, you know, I thought everybody loved it the same way, and I think that's another thing that as time went on. And I remember watching an interview with Steve Vai, who later became another absolute favorite of mine, the guitarist, songwriter, even singer. He's actually a really great singer. Why your last video is 1 month ago? Well, Karim, I got to tell you, a lot of stuff going on. But I would like if you checked out my Instagram. I got videos which are closer to now. But the last, that probably since that month ago from that video, I've made sure to kind of figure out what I got to do. What am I going to do in YouTube? Am I going to make sure to, do just content that's just covers, or am I going to just release original music? Or, and by the way, Karim, thank you so much. I appreciate that. That's awesome. Yeah, check that out. That's awesome. But you'll discover that I got a little musical notation tick. I think it's a semiquaver for all those bachelor students out there. And all that means is that my channel now is an official channel. And that means is that if you search Nathan Gabriel, my YouTube, I am the page at the top. I'm sure there's many Nathan Gabriels, but it puts me at the top as an official thing because I've released an album. We will get to that. If you stick around, you're going to find out some that just like to see. Thanks, Karim. Yeah, awesome. I'm glad you're looking that up, man. Thank you. Anyway, more Metallica. So Metallica is, an incredible band. And anyway, that the performance that really got me and the album that really got me, and it was both, a live, DVD at the time. We didn't have Blu-ray. We didn't have Blu-ray or Red Ray or all the Rays. We had DVDs, people. Was the S&M album. Album was insane. Album was insane. It basically showed me how to be a musician and how to rock. And to be honest, I haven't been able to rock to that degree yet. Coming. But it gave me insight in how to manage what they're doing. And what I did at that time that was when I was about 18, coming into the end of high school, year 12. I started to actually think to myself, wait a second, like I really like to play music. Why can't this work? I used to have a band, Karim. If you stick around, you're gonna hear about this band. And I was in it for about 4 years. But you have to stick around. You have to stick around. Well, you could watch this off, and I know you can, but I see that I think you're a part of this. But we'll get there. I was in a band. In a few bands actually. Several bands that were a part of my university degree, but a main band that I kind of go around and perform at. And you become a family unit, and that was actually the first time where I kind of felt that Metallica family unit. Now you can't wait to see me play. Well, check this out. Let's see if the audio works. Tell me if the audio works. I gotta turn the microphone off, and you just let me know. You just let me know. All right, you could probably hear my voice now. So basically what I've done, yeah, thanks. Oh, thank you. So right now I've got a Blue Yeti right here, which is my main microphone for everything. Now today wasn't the kind of performing vocal and guitar day because I'm going to set up a microphone and guitar area behind me against this wall. You can hear an echo. All right, awesome. Thank you. All right, let's figure this out. Is the echo only through the voice at the moment? Is that what we're saying? Yeah, awesome. Okay. Well, I'm gonna figure that out next time. But let's do this. I'm gonna just play some guitar for you, and we'll see how we go. Holla Dante, there she is. There's my sister. All right, sounds good. All right, well let's play some guitar and get rid of this echo. All right, one sec. And if you didn't hear what I just said, basically the echo is coming through my guitar pickup because it's radiating so much energy right now. As excited as I am. All right, I'm going to turn the microphone off and just play some guitar for a little bit. Thank you to all the viewers. 6 viewers. Hello. How you all doing? All right, I'm just going to play some guitar for you for a little bit. All right, little bit for you. Tell me. Did it all work? Did you get some delays and reverbs and cool effects? That's that was the intention for this time. Thank you so much for listening. yeah, so this introduction stream, is so good for me because I get to test with you wonderful people how to do this whole thing, to make sure everything's working, all the sound's working. You know what, Karim? I prefer the electric guitar. I'm a lead guitarist, actually, believe it or not. I'm a lead guitarist. Well, actually, you would believe it. You've been here from the beginning. I've already told you how much I love guitar. And the transition looked great. Yes. So I made that transition. We're going on tangents now. We're just going live on tangents. But yeah, I made that transition, the little with After Effects and Photoshop. So basically, I think Copilot, I use a plugin from Copilot who he's been doing, I think they're a big company now, but he's the main guy. Hey, Andrew Kramer here. He's made some amazing plugins for After Effects and Premiere Pro, and he is a absolute god at effects. But he released this Saber, Saber, plugin that enabled me to, during that transition, you'll see like the guitar, or in this way, wait, over here, guitar and controller, and it's like doing this really cool little like electric effect, but everything else was just simple, two planes that just kind of pop together. Hola Dante is now following my sister. Thank you so much. Hoi, double hoi, on screen and off screen. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I felt like we talked about Metallica for way too much, but not way too much at all, because I love Metallica. I hope you achieve your goal and become a great musician. Thank you, Karim. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Try my hardest. Try my hardest, please. Anything. But comments like that are the reason I'm doing this as well. So thank you. Really appreciate that. So once I started guitar, once I learned Joe Satriani, once I learned some Metallica stuff, I realized that, I really love guitar now. And I would show off at, the last 3-4 months at high school, year 12. I was still kind of dabbling, due to traveling. I had to kind of quit my music class, and I didn't get my certificate 3, which was the requirement, as I later learned, for my uni degree. But that's okay. I'll say soon. Things kept going. But yeah, after high school, so at this point, actually at the end of high school, I don't have any notes here, by the way, so we're just doing this real time, guys, ladies. We got to the end of high school, and I got the award for most likely to become a rock star. That doesn't do well for my head. I sometimes actually think 10 years on, if that's the reason why I just kept going. I am someone that just tries to do something and then just keeps going until I get to a certain result, which is usually too high for me. But then I always, try my best to get there. I used to actually be a tennis player, and do I look like a tennis player? I look like a tennis player now. And so, yeah, I, at the end of high school, got the most likely to be a rock star. That definitely didn't help my head. And, I naturally wanted to do really good. And so the next port of call was to make sure that I had a job to bring some money in after high school, and then try to, get into university. And at this point, everything was stacked against me. I got told, "Oh, no, you need your certificate 3. What are you doing? Why'd you quit school?" No, I didn't quit school. Finish it. But why'd you quit music class? And, I had to stay back till 7 p.m. and I traveled 2 to 3 hours every single night and day, back and forth. Really tough for me. So I couldn't make those classes. But I thought, you know what? Well, I'm just going to, as I do with many things, you might discover and learn that about me, is I keep going. I don't stop for, it's been 10 years with the music thing, and I've now just started this new streaming venture. 10 years. 10 years. That's half my life. I'm only 20 years old. I'm 27, turning 20. So you know, I took a gap year, as we call it in Australia. I think we call it, oh, but it just means that we've got to take a break from school and you know, maybe go on a holiday and stuff. I didn't go on a holiday. I play guitar every day for 12, 15 all day hours. And it got stupid because I used to ask, you know, people on forums and stuff back in the day, and this was, you know, I don't think it was pre-YouTube, but YouTube was pretty new, and Facebook was quite new as well, and you know, just the way that we use these social media platforms now is completely different. A musician, you are also a gamer. That's cool. Yeah, I'm a gamer. I'm a big gamer, Karim. A big gamer, and that's one of the biggest reasons why I'm coming on to Twitch, and also just, you know, bringing gaming into my music, because I've actually, throughout, you know, my, if you know, you scroll down on my Instagram, as you so kindly were looking at before, you'll discover that, yeah, I've got quite a few videos that you know, the music and melodies played on electric guitar, acoustic guitar, for a lot of my favorite games. And whether I did it for, I believe I did them most for anniversaries that came through. But you know, they are, yeah, I'm a gamer. I play a lot of games every single day. I play something, but it's usually for myself, by myself. I'm not a big multiplayer guy, and yet I'll play some multiplayer games. I'm pretty good at it. I used to play a game called Warsaw, and you know, like Quake and like these FPS games, first-person shooter games, and you know, I've got some good reflexes for that type of stuff. I'll definitely, you know, be doing that in the future, Karim. So that'll be cool. Stick around and fun with that. But yeah, as you can see behind me, over here, that's got to get used to that. Just doing this mirror thing. Maybe I should prefer. Yeah, I prefer single player games. I do. Yeah, I'm a big RPG fan. So you can see over here, I've got Oblivion, Skyrim, and all those kind of open world type games. That's just the small collection over here. But yeah, everything in between. I've got all the consoles and got everything. I got everything, Kareem. I got everything. I got too much. But yeah, I prefer single player games. It just brings you into another world. You get to experience a story nowadays. And you know, nowadays the stories are all motion captured and insanely beautiful, and you know, they feel like a movie most of the time. So you get to, you know, experience some really stories like Last of Us 2 and get Red Dead Redemption 2, which is an incredible game. If you haven't played Red Dead Redemption series 1 or 2 or both, what are you doing? Get on it. Incredible. But yeah, the single player games, you know, range from, you know, the first person shooters to RPGs, open world action game. Yeah, you played part 2. Did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy it? I know it got a lot of hate, you know, during when it was released and for quite a long time afterwards. I really enjoyed the gameplay, and the story was pretty cool as well. Just the fact that they pushed the boundary on that, you know, graphics and stuff, always blows my mind at Naughty Dog. They're insane. Very talented team. Because yeah, Uncharted series, one of my favorite series, and in fact, the main character is called Nate, and my name's Nathan. So 2 and 2 together, you can get Nate. So when the character was like Nate, it was always me. I didn't think I was Nathan Drake. I thought it was me. All right, just a little insider. Yeah, it's good. It is good. I reckon it's great. But yeah, so you know, I ended up just practicing every day. Way too long, but it really benefited me. So I played the 12, 14 hours, and we're talking about guitar and music right now. Played guitar for like 14 hours a day more. And I would do stuff where I wouldn't eat until I played a riff perfectly. I wouldn't go to the toilet until I did something correct. And the funny thing is that came from a Japanese article I read of my, you know, the second favorite guitarist, or first at the time, all that type of stuff, Steve Vai. And there was an interview in a Japanese magazine that he basically said he wouldn't eat, he wouldn't drink, he wouldn't, you know, go to the toilet until he got a riff down pat perfectly. perfectly. I don't care how long it takes, perfectly. And so I did that, and I remember getting so sick, and I got really good. But was very unhealthy. And then I later found out, all these years later, um, that wasn't even a real article. They made that article up. It was either lost in translation or outright just made it up. And Steve Vai, I think I can't remember what is it, Music Is Win YouTube channel. I don't know if you can name drop, so I don't know if you're allowed to do that. I'm guessing you are. Um, with the interview with Steve Vai, it was a great interview, and I've pretty much watched every interview, guys. Yeah, he actually mentioned that out of nowhere, and realized that, like, oh, he never did that at all. In fact, he's pretty sensible, and he would take time off if he needed to. So I think, yeah, it is really exhausting. The Last of Us Part 2 is exhausting. Oh, I get you, Karim. Especially, yeah. Oh my goodness. And it's very draining on the soul when you're actually like really trying to enjoy it, and it's just it just keeps flattening you out, and you're like, can I have something funny? Can you just make Uncharted for a little bit for me, please? But it's great. But yeah, so I naturally took into making sure that I committed to learning guitar every single day. But finding out, later on that the way about it is silly. If you follow what I did, it is silly. And I think I put a lot of time in guitar, and it was really worth it at the end. This is the segue. I need transitions for like segues. Maybe I'll look at this. I'll do a transition again, but it's just got to be back here. But I just want to do transition like we've just time jumped. Do it. Whoa! All right. So I need to do a transition for that as well. So go back to the same camera. All right. So we are now at the stage of when I entered university, or I think it was TAFE. It was just high TAFE or something like that. But anyway, I ended up applying for a bachelor degree in music performance at NMIT in Greensboro. Now, this was a 3.5-hour train trip in the morning, at night, nearly 7 hours every single day for the first 2 years. But before we get there, how did he get in without any certificates? Well, this was pretty funny. So I ended up learning how to play some really good songs, Steve Vai, Joe Satriani, and at this point in time, I started to go, well, I need to enter a school. I need some school to be around like-minded people. I didn't actually know what it was like to just, I could just ask someone at a pub. It took me a very long time to realize you could just do that, and people kind of, give you a chance, and you can sing, you can play guitar. So if anyone's on the the fence about just going out and learning how to sing, learning how to perform, a lot of places will just say, hey, yeah, absolutely. Now, like, you want to be like, they're pretty good, but I mean, jump in. People are out there. But anyway, so yeah, started really practicing that year, 2012, and wait, 2012 was like the end of the world thing. Anyone remember that? It was like the whole end of the world thing. That was 9 years ago. That didn't happen. That's fortunate because we're here today. First time at university always is. You're right. I think you're absolutely right. It was difficult. In fact, it was difficult throughout the entire process. But when you love something and you're passionate about something, I think everything else, when you're doing it from from pre-doing it, and you get in your head, it becomes like overwhelmingly like, can I do this? Am I good enough? And actually, this segues perfectly, because I called a school up and I said, and I looked at a bunch of schools, and I thought what one to go to, and NMIT in Greensboro was the one. North Melbourne Institute of TAFE. That's it. It ended up being called Melbourne Polytechnic. Now it's Melbourne Polytechnic. But same place, same teachers, same super contribution. That's an Australian ad joke. But yeah, so I called them up and I said, look, I don't have the certificate 3 you need. I don't have even this. Or I think I had the certificate 1 and 2. I think naturally doing year 9 and 10 music. But yeah, I didn't have the required certificates. So I said, what can I do? And they said, well, you have to learn 2 really hard songs that are going to impress us. So first of all, cool. They've just basically accepted me at least applying. And I thought that was just stupid. Even though I spent all that time on the guitar, that was with the hope. I didn't have the knowledge that I would get anywhere. Once again, just a part of me. I just think, well, I got this goal. I'm going to achieve it. And then hopefully the universe or people, everyone just kind of just helps me out. And then we get there and we do it. And wow, here to tell you 9 years later, we did it. We did it, guys. Spoiler alert. We did it. Happy days. But yeah, so got up to the process of actually applying, and I had to do really hard songs. I had to show my competency of playing guitar, and that was my instrument of choice. I didn't sing at the time. I sung for myself, but now I'm a singer-songwriter. But at the time, and I busk obviously, and I sing quite loud. But at the time, it was really focused on guitar. Absolutely, Karam. Everybody, look at that message. You should believe in yourself first. Achieve what you want. Yes. Yes. And this is where I need the audio effects, where I just go bing, and then it's like brah, brah, brah. All right, so we'll get to that in the future streams. But thank you. That's a great comment, Karim. And so, you know, naturally, I thought I'm going to choose really, really hard songs. So I typed in Steve Vai, hardest song ever made. Joe Satriani, hardest song ever made. And look, well, actually, I'll get to what happened. But had to do that, and also had to do a sight reading test, which is just reading the musical notes and notation on the sheet and trying to replicate that on guitar to the teacher in front of you, or the committee, you know, 3 or 4 people sometimes. And then also having to do a test for, you know, theory knowledge. Now, this is where we go back a little second. Yeah, during that year, as well as learning guitar, I found another name drop, by the way. Hopefully, I'm allowed to do this, surely. Come on, I'm allowed to do this, surely. His name is Steve Krenz, and I learned everything. Theory, guitar, performing, sight reading, all of it was from him. And I got that from a mate at my dad's work. Saw that I was interested in guitar and was like, hey, you got to check this guy out. He will teach you everything. And so that's what I did. And in fact, it was probably one of the best experiences of my life, being able to actually research and watch something that I passionately was involved in, my mind, and to place that from my mind into an instrument and have it produce sound and it work. I haven't experienced feeling like that. And so it was amazing. And so, learned the really hard songs, and by watching Steve Krenz every single day. And like I said, I would be doing pretty much all day. I wouldn't sleep much. Just my main focus. I get really focused. Did anybody try to frustrate you at your beginning? Lots of people. Lots of people. I got to tell you, you'll have a lot of people who enter and, you know, kind of disrupt how you see things, or try to disrupt your energy of how you feel. And, you know, you could be so excited for something and people be frustrating, whether it be towards you, whether it be towards others, whether it be just being there. Yeah, there's some people like that. You know, if you just keep yourself, you know, occupied in your own self and make sure that you know, focus on why you came in the first place, that type of stuff, you know, very kind of secondary to everything you want to achieve. So, you know, are you going into university, Kareem? Are you thinking of going into any sort of degree or anything like that, or have you experienced this all before? But yeah, so lo and behold, they said, "Hey, come in, try it out. Try it out. What's the worst that can happen? You get no, and then you're back at, just still learning until you try again. Try again next year." So I came in, and this was the moment that everybody, I think, fears. But it's funny how you feel like you're the only one who is feeling it at this time. First of all, can I just say thank you so much to the 3 viewers who are still here. What are you doing? What are you doing? You're just still here watching me. That's awesome, and I appreciate that. So thanks so much. Oh, you're at your 3rd year. Yes, you're on your way. Well done. Well done. Be proud of yourself. It's a tough venture to get into that. What do you do? What are you doing at university, if you don't mind me asking? And yeah, so I went in and I watched people walk past me who looked like they were in their 3rd year. You're very welcome. Or their 2nd year, and oh my goodness, you just feel like, oh no, they're really good. Oh, I can't compete with this, and oh my goodness, and you get in your head. And I am someone who is very lone wolf, or was lone, and an agricultural engineer. Then what are you doing listening to the musician? I should be listening to you, Karim. You've already provided some wise comments. We need to listen to Karim. Well done. Well done. I really wish you the best on that. And that'll be fantastic. And yeah, I can't wait to see you on a stream and tell me you've completed it, smashed it. Everything went. I hope so. But yeah, naturally, you feel like overwhelmed. And a lot of people are, when you arrive at university, clearly better in the sense of a skill set, because they've spent time and they've spent energy and they've been focused on it, and it's a natural thing that happens. But you love music? Yeah. Oh, that's awesome, Karim. That's awesome. I hope you do it all, and like me, I found a way to, I believe, combine them together. I've got a life of music right now, busking in gigs, and it's making me live and survive and feel good. And this is a whole new platform for me to kind of bridge my love for games and my love for music, kind of putting them all together. And I'm hoping in the future, I'm not hoping, I'm gonna do it. Come on. I'm gonna be playing games and stuff as well. And it's great. Yeah, I think music, just like air and food, everybody at some level likes, loves, whether it's a beat, or it's just anything. It's something everybody kind of inevitably reads in life. I think actually, if that's probably the reason why I've ended up being a musician, is because, other than being a cook, which I could cook, I'm okay. I just prefer to eat. I prefer to eat the food. But anyway, so going back to watching people and looking at people playing so amazingly as I'm listening, waiting nervously for my interview, you start to feel a little bit depleted. Well, this is for me personally. Maybe it won't be for you. Maybe you're just so cool. I'm sure you are so cool. So you'll be fine. But for me, it was very stressful. Yeah, it does. It does. It makes you happy, makes you sad. It's incredible. It's incredible what music can do, Kareem. I'm with you. I'm absolutely with you. It's one of those things that literally change your mood. Literally. And that's an incredible thing. So anyway, so I walked in, sat down in front of one person, and he just said, "Okay, play me those 2 songs," and everything disappeared in my brain straight away. I looked around and I saw an amplifier there, and he's eyeing me. He goes, "You can plug into the amp if you want," and I'm going, "Oh, this isn't the way it was set up in my bedroom for the entire year." And that's one thing you start to really quickly learn, is, especially as a musician, when you're bedroom playing, when you're staying in your bedroom and you're learning this stuff, it's not real world. You're going to go out there and you have to perform in front of someone staring at you, or you have to, you were stressed at the moment. Yeah, I was stressed. I was real stressed, Karim. And, you know, it got to me in the moment, but I think something came over me where I was just like, you know what? I have to just do this because I don't want to do this in another year. I don't want to wait. I've been practicing so much. I need to do this now. And I think I just kind of got in the zone. I plugged it into the amp. The amp went, and I was like, oh, yep. And, you know, the teacher was extremely nice. Said like, oh, yeah, you could just turn the volume down. And I, you know, and I think in those moments, it's good to be honest. It's good to be really honest and say like, I don't know what I'm doing. Can you just help me out here? I learned all about guitar in theory, but I didn't learn about amps. I didn't learn how to plug in. I just kind of played in my computer, or I, you know, played the electric guitar like ding, 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 you know, like this. So this is my Epiphone. So this is actually, no joke, exact guitar that I played at uni. This was the guitar that I actually used to get into my course. And this is how I played. I didn't have amplifiers. I didn't have anything at the time tech related like I do now, thankfully. So I had to just... I don't know if you hear that because I've got, you know, the noise level on the microphone, but and it's not plugged in, as you can see. But yeah, so but that's what I had to listen to. I just had to listen to twang. So by listening to that twang, naturally, you know, I developed a sense of, you know, listening to notes and stuff a little differently. I didn't get to really hear what it would end up sounding like. So there was a lot of techniques I needed to learn. That's why uni was good. That's why uni was good. Anyway, so I played these two songs, and I gotta tell you, and it's funny because a lot of people that I've actually watched, you know, much older than I am, who have experienced uni different time periods, had very similar experiences. Just as a human, you just kind of go in, you feel overwhelmed, there's a lot going on, you've been practicing so much, and then you have to do it in a different environment, in a different way, in front of people, and everything kind of, you know, adds to that, you know, that you may have forgotten. Like for me, it was amplification. That was, you know, silly in hindsight, but at the time, you know, it was something that I already was doing a lot, and I didn't know that was an added component. But you know, these are the moments where you know, you actually just tell your truth, and you just say, hey, I need help. Can you help me out, please? And he helped me. He just like set the amp, and he goes, what song are you playing? And I said, oh, playing Steve Vai, Die to Live, which, you know, quite a tough song for your first song, you know, to enter. This is something that you should be playing at the end of your bachelor. But once again, that's just what I do. I kind of just try to do the hardest thing and semi-succeed and get through that, and everything else. In fact, I seem to do the harder things easier than the easier things. And I'm sure there's something to that I'll later discover in life. Spoilers. But it was fun. It was really fun. And, you know, as soon as I started that song, here's the other thing. Not even 10 seconds went on. And then, whoop, stop. Why are we stopping? What did I do something wrong? What's going on? Just play the next song. Okay, what song you gotta play? Gonna play Steve Vai, Tend to Surrender. Another extremely hard song that I'd been practicing 12 hours a day for many, many months. I was really, really stressed. And I don't know if you know the song, but actually, look what we can do. I won't play the entire thing or anything. I'm just gonna play exactly, I haven't played this in years, but exactly what all I ended up doing. Okay, 1 second. You might be thinking to yourself, what? What? Is that all you did? What? Really? Also just realized that the audio wasn't on that guitar. But I'll just show you from this. All right, one sec. So you'll just hear it from the microphone without effects. But this is all I played for the second song. Halt! Stop! Stop playing! Like, what? Did I do something wrong? What's going on here? And at this point, I'm stressing. I'm stressing, everyone. I'm stressing to the 9. Now, did he love the first song or what? Well, I can tell you that these people are insane. They're incredibly intelligent people who, through many, many, many decades of playing music, could instantly hear whether it was good or bad and just say, yep, done. You know, and everything I worked towards, I felt shattered, absolutely shattered. Because at that moment, he didn't tell me he liked it. He didn't tell me he loved it. He didn't tell me he didn't like it. He didn't tell me he hated it. He just said, stop. He just said, stop. And that was like a heart-melting moment. Being told to stop on, you know, something that you've just absolutely put your heart and soul into for a long time, and then stop. Okay. And it didn't help that I was probably playing way too loud and he had to shout over me. So I thought, like, all right, don't yell at me. All right, I'm just trying to play music. So yeah. Then it was, hey, okay, so give me your guitar. Okay, here's your guitar. What note's this? The E. And at this point in time, I got to tell you, I didn't know properly where the notes sat on the guitar. Now it's different. I've learned all that stuff. But at this time, I didn't know what notes were on the guitar. I knew chord shapes. I knew the pentatonic scale. If you've ever heard the pentatonic scale, it's 5 notes, penta. And basically most songs that you ever hear in the Western music follows pentatonic scale, with sometimes, as you'll call, the blues scale, where it adds the flat 5 degree for any of my bachelor students who are going to check this out or are a part of here. But yeah, so I played those 2 songs and it was 5 seconds of each and it was done. And then he gave me a test to do the what notes were this, and then also just out of nowhere, and I hadn't done this at this time, and I later learned that this was a thing they just kind of do to put you on the spot. You're not supposed to know this if you hadn't gone to uni and you just did stuff in your spare time. It was actually hearing a note and knowing the note name. And I failed. I failed that. They just said, no, that's not it. Oh, okay. What chord's this? I think it's a... And they would play some quite advanced chords and I would have to hear it and do it. And I'm going, I didn't learn any of this. I know some of the shapes. I got a few of them right. But as you can see on the guitar here, like, naturally, I could play, let's say, for anyone who's a musician or aspiring musician, and you learn bar chords. You basically play, let's say, the F bar chord, which is one of the first ones you learn. You play it like that. You should learn them first. Yeah, you should, Graham. You definitely should. But you play like this. But someone's showing you, and they do this. So you hear that, that's that chord. Now they do this. It's exactly the same chord. No, the notes are the same. Everything's the same. But the entire hand is different. What is this? What are they doing to me? And so I freaked. At this point, I'm thinking, I'm not gonna get this. I am not gonna get this. And he was going, yep, nah, that's not it. Nah, that's incorrect. Nah, that's not it either. Going, what's going on? I thought I learned so much, Karim. I thought I learned so much. And I found out I didn't learn enough. But that was the trick. That was the trick. I wasn't meant to learn this stuff. That was 3rd year, 4th year stuff. That was stuff that you learn later. And basically, the next part of that was sight reading. Now, I had done sight reading. Once again, maybe this is a little hack for anyone, but just learn a little bit more difficult than you're learning now if you're about to go into uni. just learn a little bit more difficult, just for your mind, just to feel a little bit better in that situation. Because what I later learned from that teacher, which became a good friend after the 4 years, is that they just put you on the spot from a third year level and see what you can do. And because they're very smart, they're very good at what they do. They can kind of determine, how good you are based on little knowledge. And even you stuffing up and not getting it, and it's same for me now after doing this for 10 years. It's like you can see, you can see what people know or don't know, even when it looks like they've just completely not known something. You can see, can see stuff when you've put a lot of time into it. So anyway, he goes, "Thank you for coming. You passed." And I went, "What? You passed. Yeah, you passed. Yeah, can you bring the next student in?" I'm sitting there. Those words aren't entering my brain right now. How could I have passed? I just failed everything. He said, "No, you didn't." I said, you basically said no, that's not it to everything I did. Yeah, but I know what you did, and I know that you've actually. And then that's when he said, "So you haven't done your Cert 3?" And I said, "Oh no, not at all." He goes, "How did you learn all this stuff?" And I said, "Oh, just took a year off and learn all this, that, and the other." He goes, "Okay, and I gotta go back here just because I'm just doing this kind of willy nilly on the spot. Prior to coming in on the call, I said obviously that I didn't have a Cert 3, and they mentioned to me, well, if you are good enough, you can surpass Cert 3, go straight into Cert 4. And at this point, I'm going, well, that's a stretch, an entire year I can just bypass, and that's why, once again, there was an incentive on top of my natural just kind of wanting to go gung-ho to, actually get in. Yeah, so I passed, and at that point, I said, "Well, what about Cert 3? Does that mean like I passed that? Have you forgotten about that?" So no, you passed that, and you Cert 3, you passed that, and now you're in Cert 4. You're coming in July, and we're beginning, or whatever it was, and February, I think, of 2013. I think that's when I started, February or March, and that's where uni began. And at that point, you are now learning advanced stuff. Most it's an interesting thing when you and it's much easier now. 7 years ago, 6 years ago, it doesn't seem like so much has changed, but a lot has really changed when it comes to like information, learning, just the way, not only the access, but also just the way that we have kind of allowed ourselves to realize that, oh, I can access that, oh, I can see that, or whether the formatting's better, so it's just more accessible for many more people. But an interesting thing that, like, when you start the learning train, just how much there is to learn, and how you don't actually know the questions to ask. So you can say, how do I learn guitar? And you'll get a bunch of videos talking about the cage system and talking about use these top 5 chords, and once you know these 5 chords, you can play every song, and all these very helpful but very restricting guitar videos, because, and I've seen it a lot, watching a lot of people perform throughout my uni, throughout life, from that point. People don't need university, you don't need TAFE to perform and learn, but out of a lot of people I've seen, a majority who haven't followed that route and understood theory and stuff, they do start to sound very similar to each other, because naturally they're learning the same videos, they're learning the same songs, they think, this is how it is. And anything in between, where you're learning scale notes and you're learning modes, which is an incredibly big thing. And I'll show you this in like right now, actually, just because I've got the guitar here and I'll keep things more interesting. But you learn, let's say, the major scale, and that's one of the first things you learn in class. And the craziest thing is that it's one of the last things you learn at the end of the 4 years that I was at for my bachelor degree. And it just depended on how you looked at it that determined how advanced it was. Now, if I play the E note, which is up here, and I just have that kind of coming through, and once again, I'll do this next stream where I'll have the effects and stuff kind of working in tandem, but for right now, just so my voice can talk at the same time. But the major scale in E, per se, is just like this. So I'll play the note, and then I'll play the scale. Okay, it's quite a happy scale. Now, most people, when they're just learning guitar and they're following YouTube, that's just... right? It's like, oh, okay, cool, that's amazing. Wow, great job. And then they say, oh, can you play Lydian? Like, sorry, what language? What? Sorry? Lydian? What's Lydian? Oh, it sounds like this. What is that sound? That sounds pretty cool. Do that again for you. And there is a lot of modes. They're called modes. So that major scale is one mode. That Lydian scale is actually the fourth mode. They have like an actual order. And, you know, in having an order, you're able to, and, you know, I won't go into detail now, not because I can't remember. They are pretty similar, Karim. They are very similar. In fact, they are so similar that there's only one note that's different. And that's another thing that uni does when you're in that music degree, is you learn how to distinguish the different modes and how they sound. And then you're able to kind of create some very interesting stuff. And in fact, if you've ever heard of the Police, Roxanne, you don't have to put on the red light. These days are over, you don't have to say your body till the night. The Police, right? Message in a bottle, yeah. Right? They use Lydian a lot. Magic, 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 you know. So they use Lydian a lot. And what it does, each mode basically has its own mood. Mood. What's the difference? This is all on the spot, guys. Come on. I'm trying to make jokes. You know, and they are a part of a family. And in fact, there is 3 major scales. They're called major scales. They're a part of a family. And they only have 1 or 2 note differences that, when used properly, can create an entire mood. And it works, Karim. It really works, because, you know, you start to discover just how eye-opening just that one concept is, and then everything just becomes like, really? This is a whole new world. And for all my black and white fans out here, look at this box right here. It's a whole new world down there. A black and white reference. You all know. No, you don't. So I passed. Wow, he passed. And it took literally less than, I think, like 5 minutes, like a whole entire year of working towards something, or at least 7 months, something like that. And then it was just over in 5 minutes. And when you walk out, suddenly all those people that you're hearing who are incredible, they are still incredible, but you now have this kind of thought where you're like, maybe I can be that, maybe I can do that, and you start to have that energy again of excitement. But just those little moments of test, they kind of throw you in the deep end, and they kind of, you know, make you question everything. It is, I think, a really beneficial way, and I think that's why they do it. They've done it, what I've seen from a lot of people, a lot. It's really beneficial, and it helps a lot of people, because you know, by placing a little bit of fear, you know, nice little dose, tiny dose, nothing serious, but a little bit of fear into someone who is already a bit nervous, it actually propels them to at least try their hardest in that moment, and they naturally, you know, show off their skill to the best of their ability, even when they're thinking, oh no, this is going horribly wrong. Well, yeah, you could say so, you're better than them. You could say that, Kareem. You could say that. Whatever works for you. But as I also realized in the music sphere, is that skill doesn't end up meaning kind of listenability, or as music has, as we kind of see if you open Spotify and you see like the top tracks in the world or Australia where I currently live, a lot of the songs are very simplistic when compared to Bach or something like that, right? Like you don't listen to these songs and go like, wow, super sophisticated. You listen to these songs and go, great beat or cool melody. And a lot of those melodies, once again, fit inside the pentatonic scale, which just gives me an excuse to play guitar. Is that 5-note thing I was talking about at the start of this? Basically, like, and then that blues kind of scale where you add the little, you'll hear it. Everybody knows this, even if you just. Did you hear that? You hear that? Used to get my life at a ballroom. So that one scale infiltrates pretty much every song you listen to right now. Right now, unless you're listening to Indian music, you are listening to the pentatonic scale in some form or fashion. And once as a musician you realize that, it pretty much is in every song, Karim. Absolutely. Indian music, like Tala and stuff like that, they actually they use the pentatonic scale, but it's divided. This is going a bit too advanced for the first stream. My head's like, strap in. Wait, there we go. All right. And that's a setting on the chair, by the way. It's called overload. Is that the notes themselves aren't just 5 notes. There's 12 notes, I believe, in between. So it creates that kind of, it has these kind of in between notes that are fluctuating, and that's why they have such a unique sound. But yeah, I would say the music I mostly listen to even now is pentatonic. And in fact, going back to Metallica, the best riffs, these guys make some of the best riffs. Yeah, Indian music is amazing, Karim. It's an entire, once again, if you're in, the Western side of the world and you start to listen to, Eastern, like Indian music, things just start to open up incredibly. Chinese music and stuff like that is incredibly cool. And I did it mainly for a study point. I don't listen to it naturally. Some things I do listen to still just because they have some really, really cool riffs. And in fact, some of my favorite guitarists, like Steve Vai, he has implemented quite a lot of Indian kind of melodies inside his music. In fact, on his latest album, second latest album, yeah, absolutely, Karim. It is the Story of Light album. Such an amazing album, and it feels like it came out a year ago, but I think, let me have a look here. It came out back in. Oh my lordy lord! Came out in 2012. Really? Wow. Story of Light came out in 2012. That was a year before I actually began doing uni. That's insane. Wow. That's an eye-opening right there. I feel like I need a filter that I click and then I suddenly just go, back in my day. The voice filter I click, I'm just clicking voice filter. Back in my day, this is what I do. And we're back. So yeah, incredible music to listen to, and especially if you're an aspiring musician, because you'll actually, your whole world will open up and you'll start to realize like, oh geez, okay, there's a lot more to check out. And I can't remember his name. In fact, he's quite amazing, and he's Jacob Collier. Jacob Collier. See, I'll type him in to the chat. Once again, I hope I can do this stuff. But but I believe that's how you spell his name. But he, if you check out his music and the stuff that he does, he has an insane skill set within his music. So he's able to really test those note boundaries and not be so restricted to the notes that, let's say, a piano gives C to C, 12 notes. And you push, 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 and there you got C to C. You got C, C sharp, D, E flat, well, but F, F sharp, and everything in between, 12 notes. But yeah, so I'm into uni at this point. I'm into uni, and I'm gonna do a transition. We're gonna do a transition. Let's do it. Let's do it once. We're gonna put the camera in. So now that we're in uni, thank you for staying here, people. Thank you, appreciate that. Extra golden from a little bit of sun. Thank you so much. Thank you for sticking around. I really appreciate it a lot. So yeah, got into university, and this is where it began. Really, this is where it began because, like, you meet a lot of people who are very like-minded, and also are doing different things than what you are expecting that field. And people I've talked to in different fields is always the same thing. Even if the people who are in your field are doing the same thing, they might be seeing it in completely different ways to you. And you're like, but aren't we learning the same stuff? And it's like, yeah, but everyone goes off and learns their own things, and then they have ways that they comprehend it and stuff. And so I think that's a real joy in going to uni, is that not only do you get that kind of instant gratification of learning, like how to learn 5-chord songs and how to listen to this song and be able to perform it live at your next gig, those type of things. You actually start to see different angles that really create the performer, that really create the person who really understands what they're doing, and it's a really big difference when you start to see people who, once again, are like-minded and in your degree, but also completely are doing different things, in their mind, in the way that they show it on the guitar. And like, for instance, me personally, I love Metallica and Joe Satriani and Steve Vai. A lot of people love those kind of things at this uni, and so there wasn't much difference. I felt like, oh, okay, these people just kind of like the same thing. But then I like Riverdance and Celtic music, and some people like jazz and classical, and if you've ever looked up classical guitar, it's the way you play is completely different to the way rock players play guitar, or then jazz players play guitar. We all have different plectrums, and right now I don't have a plectrum. I use a little Dunlop plectrum, but they can come in different thickness, and depending on what type of genre you're playing, or just really how you like to hold something, it can really change the sound of your instrument. Everything can change, so you can have a jazzier sound not only through an amplifier changing and altering settings to make sure that it sounds the way you want, but even plectrums to itself, even the actual physical object you're placing against the strings can change the entire sound. And so when you're around people who have all these different methodologies and ways of looking at things, and then on top of that playing differently, it's insane. And that's why you have people like Joe Satriani, Eric Johnson, Eric Clapton, Steve Vai, Hendrix. They all sound different. They're all learning the same stuff, really. They're learning the same stuff, the modes, the scales, and a lot of 80s guitarists really did their theory. They understood theory. And even now, if you look up John Petrucci and Eric Johnson during COVID, and Steve Vai now during COVID with his Vai Academy and all that on Patreon, it's like, I just dropped his Patreon. Wow. Is that, yeah, everyone has his or her own style, Karim. Absolutely. And it's pretty incredible how, one person can play one note on a guitar, and you give that same guitar to the next person and they play that one note. It sounds different. It's not a joke. It sounds different. And when you're a musician, that's like mind melting to know that like, wait a second, really? Like, it sounds different. It's like, yeah, it sounds different. Now, going back to that kind of like, some people, with the whole just learn guitar or learn any skill really on YouTube, at any point now, you're able to learn anything in the world, anything you want, anything you want. You can learn it. Anything you want, you can learn. Anything you want, you could learn. That's my TED talk. And but the thing is, depending on how much, that's another thing. It's like being in uni and having someone explaining that to you is a lot more different than being in the comfortability of your own home watching someone on YouTube. And if you're not really tuning into it, you're just kind of learning the kind of simpler things to be able to get by, and that's completely fine. That's perfectly fine. But if you are wanting to learn a lot more, you have to be, I believe, in environments that really sustain that kind of knowledge, because you start to just, like me, I would play a game or something will distract me. Life will distract me. When you're forced into like a class with everyone who's like-minded, information just goes in and stays there. It really sticks, really sticks. And and I'm basing that off not only myself, but people I've talked to, from where it's like, it's been nearly 4.5, 5 years since I've done uni and completed my bachelor degree. And I still remember things that I haven't trained or even thought of since, just because of that repetition that you get when you're at university. It's not just some pinned YouTube video you watch every now and again when you feel inspired, when you feel that jolt. It's like you are coming in whether you like it or not, and you have to then not only learn it, but then have to apply that to your next day, whether it's an essay or whether it's you have this talk in class and they go, hey, it's 8 in, Nathan, wake up. You're like, oh, what? They say, well, what's a C major 7 scale with a flat 5? You're like, I think it's and you're gone. But it's a really good thing to go to uni, I think. But also, yeah, just been on something I said before, where it's like, you just want to perform and you're good at just playing guitar or singing or whatever, really can, you just walk up to like a pub or walk up to ask people and just say, hey, can I play? Can I just play at your wedding? Can I play whatever? And it's like, a lot of people are amazing. Now there's a lot to that, obviously. That's a whole separate topic. But just because this is an introductory stream, we've hit an hour and a half. Can I get a sound effect? Wow, yay! Wow, sound effects, yay! Imagine little emojis rising from the bottom and confetti coming from the sides and me doing this, and everything's going and we're lighting up, and we hit the hour and a half mark and we've got 5 viewers still, so thank you so much. It means a lot. It means a lot, so I really appreciate that. Yeah, time does run, Kareem. It doesn't walk, it runs. Sometimes it sprints. Yes, so I'm in uni, and these people are fantastic. They're amazing. You're learning so much. You're absorbing so much. And when you're passionate about it, you start to really absorb properly. That's how it was for me. And on top of that, I had to travel quite a long time. Now to kind of, I've gone way off topic talking about like just music, for someone else. But this is my selfish stream. This is stream me and me learning everything. No, you're all helping me so much, so thank you. But yeah, so I hit uni. I met so many great people, and I traveled quite a lot. Hey, Joel, Atticus 64, Atticus. You have to have a cool name, Joel. You have to have a cool name. Thank you so much for dropping by, man. That's really appreciated. Thank you. We're just talking introductory stream right now, just talking about my music and developing into the musician I am today, and just what I'm doing, guitar and stuff like that. So thank you for stopping by. I appreciate that. Hoi hoi. And yeah, give me some tips later, Joel. By the way, give me some tips. I got a Logitech Brio camera, so hopefully the quality is pretty cool. Check out this if you haven't seen this. Check out my my little transition. Yes. Oi. we're starting soon. We've just gone back in time. I just said starting soon and clicked on the wrong one. Anyway, we're live. We're fresh. But yeah, I used to travel once again. I was traveling in year 11 and 12 for about 2.5 hours back and forth every single day, and it's a struggle town doing that. And then pushing it to 3.5 hours for the first 2 years was incredibly challenging. But what it does, it really shows like, are you committed? Are you committed to this? And I was like, well, yeah, I'm bloody committed. Like, well, got to do it. You got to do what you got to do. And and meeting these people and these teachers are incredible. They're so advanced and amazing and inspiring. So you just naturally are surrounded by people who are like-minded and love what you love. And now the crazy thing is, I believe I started off uni in the musical degree with over 400 people, something crazy. I'm sure I'll get schooled on that later, that it was probably a lot less, but I believe there was around 400 people when this all began. And just spoiler alert, ended up being about 8 to 10 people who finished it at the year that I did, and that's an insane decrease. And I think people underestimate courses, but also underestimate music. Like I said, yeah, if you want to be a musician, you just want to perform. You can do that right now. It really is just usually a confidence thing. And as a busker who performs in front of people, yelling on the streets every day, dogs are barking, cats are running and screeching, kids are crying, you learn that like it really is confidence that people miss. They don't have. And that's why, like, oh, my daughter wants to play but she's not confident enough, or my son wants to play but he's not confident enough, or oh, I've really wanted to play guitar in front of people but I'm not confident enough. And I gotta tell you, that sucks, because the world misses out when you're not playing for us. Like, jump in, have fun, and you can literally just walk up to any place and ask. The worst thing that can happen is they go, no, and then you go, oh, okay, like, cool, nothing's changed. You go back, you play your guitar and you sing. But honestly, the level requirement is be good, play your songs, know how to play them. But when you're not doing it in the real world, it does take a longer time to kind of jump that hurdle. I was, quite nervous playing in front of people, but I've naturally, luckily, had a little bit of bravado and confidence throughout my life to just go, whatever, I'll do what I want. Like, if you don't like it, bugger, but I'm gonna still do it. Because I really want to do it, and it's not hurting anyone, and it makes me feel good. So, but that is a big hurdle for most people. But what uni really shows is that, especially the music performance degree that I did, very much related to learning how to perform in front of people. Because you perform in front of a mirror, like, that's a cool thing to do, because you get to see what you look like and how you kind of hold things and everything like that. I don't think anyone is 100% confident first performance. Gotta face that fear. Joel with the comment of the century. That is exactly right. You just gotta face it. And no matter what you believe with, how people are, most people are scared. Most people are fearful of entering, anything that's, that's new and different. And, but the thing is just making sure that you just begin. You just got to go there. You got to try it out, because most people, and I've got to tell you, I've played in front of a lot of people, and also a lot of blah. And also, I've played in front of no one. At the end of the day, most people are nice. Most people are really nice, and they're on your side. They are on your side most of the time. And the times that they're not on your side, that's just a learning curve to be able to process and be able to get through it. But most people are on your side. So anyway, give it a crack. If you're on the fence about performing, just give it a crack. If you want to just perform. And real people are the way to go, it seems. And a lot of, famous musicians that you can read up on seems to be their answer too. Until you play in front of someone, you really can't see how you are as a performer. I played that music that I played for that guy at uni. Tend to Surrender, Die to Live. I played that perfectly. What I thought at the time was perfect. Perfectly for me at that time in my bedroom. And then I had to stand up and play with the strap around my back. And I was like, oh, wait, why do I've never stood up and played. I didn't even know. Like, I've watched all these videos and I'm watching all my performers. They're standing up and they're playing guitar. And I was sitting on my bed. What am I doing? That's another good thing. Play standing up and sitting down. They're different. It's a different thing. If you're the Beatles, you have the guitar higher up, then actually the difference of standing and sitting is negligible. But yes, standing up is a really good beneficial way to even add more confidence to performing as well. Anyway, I should just call this the tip stream, the stream that gives you tips from this guy. But yeah, so I did university for 4.5 years. I'll get to why I added a half year. Well, I think it was about three months. 3 months. Nearly a quarter of the year, so 4 years and a bit of a quarter. But during uni, I played a lot of performances, played a lot for different people, learned a lot of things about guitar, and ended up at that same time without really focusing on it. I didn't choose these as specialties, but singing in the Gorgian choir and learning that I have a deep voice. And learning that I have a high voice. It was really cool to be able to realize, like, oh, there's some untapped potential here, my boy. But yeah, so but at this time I wasn't a singer, and I ended up joining a band. So this is where it gets to kind of the next quadrant. I joined a band and we called ourselves Onyx Falls. Now this was the first time where I actually was with two people and we were like very family orientated. So what I mean by that is, like, I basically lived at their house most of the time. I was a part of their families and went to weddings and funerals and everything in between. And we focused on money and making sure that we all got together and performed and practiced, and we basically were a part of each other's lives. Now, first of all, I've never said this before, so this is the first time. If you're viewing this and you haven't followed me, please follow me. Not only for the dopamine hit that I'll receive, also so you can watch me more, get sick of me very quickly. But I appreciate that. But thank you for the viewers who are watching. Atticus64, there he is. I thought I'd convince you, my boy. All right, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Hoi. So yeah, I joined this band and we traveled. It was really cool. We played a lot of gigs. I had what we call residencies, where a wine bar or a cafe or a pub or stuff like that would get us back every week. And we were performing 3-4 times a week. And at this time, doing full-time uni, 8, 9, 10 hours a day, and then performing at gigs at pretty much 4 times a week, it gets pretty taxing. But it's something that you end up kind of doing when you're in that sphere, because you're with a lot of people who are doing very similar things, once again, like-minded. So everyone kind of jumps in and does very similar things. So you don't feel left out. You don't feel like you're doing something incredibly different, but at the same time you just kind of are in it. And then when you come out of it, you're like, wow, I did that. I really did that. Like, I didn't sleep really. Like, we traveled quite a lot. We would always have those 1 a.m. Macca's runs, and had a lot of fun. And once again, you become a family unit. And well, I became a family unit, I should say. And for a lot of people that I've watched and read up on, you naturally become a family. And what ended up happening was we quit. I ended up leaving the band, and it really did feel like an incredibly big breakup. It hurt a lot, even though I believe I chose to end it. And I want to say here, because if you're going to watch this, guys, if you two are going to watch this, they are my best friends to this day. Even with the fallout and it ending, they are my best friends. And we had such fantastic times together, and we learned so much and developed as just like adults quite a lot through the experiences that we went through. And you know, when you're doing a course together, or you know, you're doing on top of that, you know, trying to make sure that you're getting money and that you're living and that you're paying your rent and your car and you know expenses for gear and stuff, you realize just how much there is that you guys have to rely on. It really is like a marriage or something like that. And you know, being in that band was an absolute blessing because I learned how to perform. And once again, goes back to performing in front of people. You just have to perform in front of people. And a lot of people now are very online orientated, and the world works like that. And that's awesome. Look at me right now. I'm online. Whoa, we're in the World Wide Web. And it works fantastic. I'm not here to tell it differently. It's amazing. It's great. And a lot of people find success through that. But there is that when I've seen interviews and stuff when they're like, hey, so are you quite shy as a person? I'm like, yeah, I don't like performing in front of people at all. It's like, oh, okay. And so if you're wanting to perform, you know, at venues and stuff, it's a really, really beneficial thing to, if you perform in front of your family members or friends. And a lot of people are very supportive and people are on your side. People are on your side. Yeah, I had that band for three years, something like that, nearly 4 years. So throughout pretty much the entirety of my degree, and you know, went through a lot of ups and downs and had a lot of fun and not so much fun. But there was a point where I needed to really focus and tune in on, you know, finishing my degree. And like I said before, like finishing your degree, even in music performance, which naturally, even from someone standing outside of the music, it sounds like, oh yeah, you just perform and play some songs. Extremely difficult, really difficult, to the point where no matter how much I tried, I failed my last exam. Shock, horror. I failed my exam. And because of the relationship I had with my teacher as a friend, he just said, hey, I want you to redo that tomorrow morning. You know? He goes, I want you to practice all night and you're redoing this tomorrow morning. I get one shot. Get you one chance. Do not miss your chance. This opportunity. And he just said, yeah, you got one shot and one shot only. And, you know, and that was really scary. That kind of was like, I've just spent 4 years doing this. 4 years and 3 months because it's bad. But 4 years doing this, and I have to now really pass this. And so ended up just not sleeping, worked the entire night, and I think I got over 90 something. Damn. And it was like, sweet. But then finding out that, yeah, it was like 8-10 people who actually completed the course at the exact same time. A lot of other people had to, you know, take another year or two and, you know, get back on that horse. It's very difficult. It's very difficult. And to the point where, yeah, I had to quit a band of family members, and, you know, I had to really focus in on myself because, you know, I really had to give myself the time to be able to get through it. And so that was the beginning of the lone wolf. So I became quite lone wolf after that. I completed my bachelor degree by myself. Even the last performance I did, exam performance, not the written exam I did that failed, but have to do a performance exam. I ended up actually playing a bunch of really hard songs, but I did it all on my own, which I kind of regret. Once again, it's really nice playing with people, but at this time, I just had this idea of just burdening anyone. I was kind of down in the dumps with losing my band and family, and you know, I played by myself, and I passed, and I did really well. In fact, I did really well, and you know, I passed. And once that happened, once I was out of university, I was like, what do I do? Like, what am I doing now? And once again, this is where, you know, Papa G comes out 10 years later and says, just go perform. If that's what you want to do, like, you're literally doing a course called music performance, go perform. People want to see you perform. That would be great in real world. They want to see you perform. And it took actually a long time for me to jump on that, 2 years, in fact, to perform again in front of people. But in that time, I made an album. And if you're still watching, can I just say thank you so much? I appreciate that so much. It's so kind of you to watch. You can check out my album using my landing page that's in my about section in the Twitch. You can go on my social medias, and it's just my link tree link that goes straight to my album. And yeah, please, if you haven't followed, if you're watching, follow me. I appreciate that so much. And also, yeah, please check out my album. It really helps me. And in fact, one of my songs from my album, and it's been a couple of years now. One of my songs has hit like 1,800 streams, which I'm really happy with. So the Spotify tick went from like less than to more than, and I was like, yes, that's what we like to see. But yeah, I spent 2 years straight focusing every single day on my album. Now, we learned some things at the music performance about like, mixing and mastering and editing and all this type of stuff for the music and creating music. But there was a lot that I didn't know. And that's what a lot of the 2 years was learning how to mix, learning how to master. And I did everything myself. Like my next one, I want to actually, give that off to someone to mix and master. Got to run to work. Enjoy the rest of your stream. Thank you so much, Joel. Here's to you, my friend. Have a great day. And there's Joel. He's in Snack Attack. Check out Snack Attack on Facebook. They are incredible. They play really well. And in fact, one of the members of that band was in my exact course. So that's pretty. So yeah. Where was I, people? Who am I now? Anyway, so yeah, performing in front of people, and yeah, for the 2 years, the album was a part of my life, and that's all I did. That's all I did was my album, and sometimes I would busk, but once again, confidence was just really in the run, and this is where we're adding to this stream some personal stuff. I developed a back condition called ankylosing spondylitis. Say that 3 times. Say it 3 times. I appear behind you. So, want that? I don't know. I don't know. Am I right, my girl? You're still here? Am I right? But yeah, so I developed a back condition, so the confidence hit me. It's something that's lifelong. I have to kind of take a knee for every couple of weeks to keep me upright and allow me to even, move. And as you know, like in music, you have to move if you want to perform on stage, run around to do stuff and there's some like Jason Becker is a prime example of someone that doesn't need to, still incredibly amazing. So check him out, Jason Becker. He unfortunately has a disease that has restricted his entire life, but he is incredibly proficient. Still, he was one of the best guitarists in the 80s, and still creates some fantastic music. And his father, I believe, developed. Anyway, long story short, you can do it regardless. But for me personally, I really, really took it out of me. Not feeling like I could stand up for a long period of time or anything. But luckily, I'm in Australia and I have this needle that doesn't cost me an incredibly lot, but allows me, do what I. Fantastic. And I get to talk to you guys. Yahtzee! But I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna just play some guitar for a little bit, just some notes. Just All right, some little ditty. Keep the stream going. Thank you so much. Thank you, sis. Appreciate that. So first of all, we're getting an echo because isn't that amazing? That's another thing. 10 years on, and he just learns about pickups in guitar affecting thy stream. Wow. Um, So yeah, I created my album, and the album is out. You can check it out everywhere. It's called Perspective. It took 2 years. It was quite a lot of work. Mixed and mastered, and did it all myself. And like I was saying before, like next album, I want to make sure to hand it off to someone to actually do the end result of mixing and mastering. I'll create the creativity, the content, but please, can you help me out, please? That was really taxing, especially when mixing and mastering wasn't something I loved or anything. So it kind of felt gruelish to do, and it kind of hindered me doing the creative component, which I love being creative. It's a really fun and interesting thing for me. In fact, when I don't do it, I feel so terrible. I need to be creative. So after the album was created, I had a moment where I said to myself, like, come on, you really gotta, you gotta get out there. You gotta perform. I was 25, something like that, and 27 now. And it was like, you gotta perform. You gotta get out there and start doing something. And naturally, I was busking at the time. Now, at this point in time, busking for me, doing it in the local town wasn't lucrative. I didn't do so well that it kept my confidence up in terms of the monetary value that I got back. And it kind of created, kind of down in the dumps attitude, which sucked. But it was, I was in this mode of saying to myself, I want to just play music and it be the way of living. I want to live on music. And what I didn't realize is just how many opportunities could be available if I just stepped out of my comfort zone. And so at one point, I had $12 in my bank account, and I had to pay rent, and it was really shocking. It was really eye-opening, to have that moment. And whatever happened, however it happened, the next day I said to myself, you're busking tomorrow. You are not going to stop until, feel like rent is in that case. Now, I don't normally think about the money as the end result. It's just a part of the, when you turn something that's your passion into a job, it's like money is a part of it. Eating requirement, staying, living where you want to live, very disheartening. So basically, I just said to myself, you're not stopping until you get the required amount that you need for this week to to pay thy rent. And lo and behold, it was a very interesting day. I had a couple of guys come up to me and offer me a band opportunity, those boats, the and play aboard one of those carrier type thing. Also join their band full time. Now I declined that later because I had opportunities which I'll get into, but I mean, on that same day I was offered a wine bar gig that ended up being my sustainable income for the next 6 to 8 months of that year. And on top of that, my confidence boosted with busking, and so I busked quite a lot as well. And basically everything that I'd led up to that point was, hey, I just want to play music and live. I want to live, play music, and be able to eat, and be able to pay my rent and car and travel, have some savings. But I want it to just be music related. And I had, at this point, I did it. It was amazing. It was incredible. And it was literally one day. It was one of those fateful days that just came out of nowhere. And I stayed, I believe, 4.5, 5 hours on that street, singing my heart out. Didn't stop, didn't play instrumental, didn't just play guitar. It was a time that I just said, you're not stopping. You keep going until, you feel like is enough there type vibe. Um, and the opportunities came, the money came incredibly. I got the amount that I needed to be able to pay my rent. And then not only that, but that weekend I had an opportunity to perform for a business owner for her wine bar, and I joined. And can I just say, we've reached 2 hours. Emojis, pew 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 pew, confetti. Hell yeah, we've reached 2 hours, everybody. If you've stuck around and watched me for 2 hours, seriously, you deserve 2 thumbs up. 2 thumbs up. I appreciate that so bloody much. Thank you so much. 2 hours, my lordy lord. Thank you. And yeah, I got a wine bar gig, and that wine bar was sustainable for me. I moved out of home, had a nice place. I was paying for my car, paying for my rent, paying for my food, everything was great. It's like I'm about to say everything was great until that day when it wasn't. It's like no, it was great, and seriously, everything's been great pretty much ever since. But from that point, it really just came down to lessons learned at a personal level. But yeah, I performed for this wine bar for like 6 8 months. I learned a lot. Now, like I said, perform in front of people, and I performed in front of a lot of people in uni, but it was under the guise of having people staring at you and kind of judging you and writing down like, oh, you should improve upon this and all that. Whereas playing at pubs and stuff with a band, it was a very, I was a lead guitarist. And kind of backup singer, did kind of little things. And I was kind of separate, and I always felt like I want to be center of attention. I always felt that. I'm going to admit it. I've always wanted to be center of attention for that type of stuff, and being the main performer, singer, songwriter, guitarist was the way to go for me. And busking and wine bar, that was solo. Meeting a lot of lovely people who watched me and paid for me to play music. It was blowing my mind, and it still does to this day. It just blows my mind. Now that was a couple of years ago, and since then, as we know, COVID hit, and so everything just kind of went down and dead in the water. Bad luck. You cannot perform at any venue, and I swear to you, it got to the point where I had all these things lined up, all these gigs lined up, all these people with the prospect of weddings and parties and opportunities at places come up, and then the day after, like a lot of people, day after, it just flatlined, everything gone, and I was like, but I was just getting started. What are you doing? No, don't do this. And there was 2 ways I could have gone, and one of the ways was, obviously, we're very fortunate in Australia to have the privilege of getting money from the government to be able to just live. And yes, COVID sucked, but I mean, to just live off money that we're given by the government. And, hopefully, be able to but it wasn't good enough for me. I really, I ended up, calling the police and calling up my council and calling up the COVID hotline and figuring out ways that I can still busk. And so I became what, I joke as the masked busker. And that's just a joke from an Australian show called The Mask. But people were calling me the masked busker. And yeah, I would just essentially just be like this all the time. With a mask. And so I did that pretty much every single day, 2 to 3 hours a day, every morning, for the entirety of COVID. And there were so many experiences that happened to me in that time, from the best experiences all the way to some of the worst experiences. But once again, it was an incredibly large learning thing. Everything just came to this moment where I had just done so much, and the entire year went by. But so many people in my town really helped me out and was extremely generous. And I wasn't on Centrelink up until September of that year. Um, I ended up having my life threatened, and I had to quit because I was like, I can't deal with it right now. That is intense. So I just relied on, the lovely donation of people, and that's a very scary thing. Not have any stable money coming in, especially during a time where money is, wanting to be used for others for living purposes. And I obviously, from the eyes of others, was good enough to be able to receive that money, and it was incredibly humbling experience, and the generosity from the are amazing. It made me live, and cut to now, I'm still doing the same thing, and I'm able to live and comfortably live, and be able to save, and just things that I wouldn't naturally. If you asked me 10 years ago, would I have been able to do this? I wouldn't have thought this was the thing. I thought I'd be playing, arenas, something like that. But I genuinely didn't know that busking could work. Now, I have been around a lot of people who are buskers who aren't the kind of Tash Sultanas or the Dance Monk singer. I forgot. Um, you know, most buskers kind of just they busk for a long time and don't get they what you would hope they would get, and so it's very disheartening. But what I ended up learning from the people that kind of watched me and started to busk in my spot or started to busk in my town as well is they would play for a very short amount of time and not get a result and therefore kind of gone. What I realized is I have to be consistent, and I feel like that's what I'm going and will do with this streaming is that there's a consistency. And like I didn't expect to do 2 hours today. I was hoping to do 2 hours. I said to myself, hey, it'd be incredible to do 2 hours streaming. And we've made it. We've actually made it. Now, I didn't expect to do 2 hours. I expected to do like half an hour or something, but here we are. Here we are, and I'm really happy about that. And again, thank you so much for watching me. And and I hope you're enjoying this as much as I'm actually enjoying talking to you all. So thank you. And busking every day is an incredibly tough thing with a mask, and fear helps. So I'm gonna fear does help. Can I tell you something, Samgana? Can I tell you some secret of mine? I've never had a drink before. Not even water. No, I've had water. But I've never had alcohol, and that's an incredibly interesting thing to hear from a musician who wants to be a rock star and all that. Yeah, that's the face. That's the face. Oh, what? Oh my god, how can he survive? Look at me. Look at me, Samgana. Look at me. I've survived. I'm still here, and you are watching me. So things aren't as crazy as you see. I'm not a Mormon. I am but a man. I'm not a but I used to be actually Samgana, if you stick around, I'm gonna say it right now, I'm gonna tell you. I used to be, and congrats on your first stream, bro. Thanks, sis. Used to be a tennis player. I used to I used to be a professional tennis player. And I learned this thing, and at the start of the stream, like I said, I learned things from people and think that they're a real thing, and I go, well, if they're doing it, I'm going to do it. But it was like Roger Federer never had a drink, and I thought he's the best tennis player, so I'm going to not drink. But found out I think he drinks, because most people do, but I don't. I'm okay. I'm all right. I don't have a Twitch or anything. Inside joke, we're on Twitch. I just switched. Inception. So, pardon me. Yeah, bust every day, 3 hours a day, and some of the experiences are amazing. Meeting some incredibly kind people who genuinely appreciate me being there. And during COVID, it's an incredibly difficult time for a lot of people, and having someone playing music, I didn't realize that it really helps. It really helps. People walking to work and going to really stressful jobs in the retail industry and doctors or health industry and stuff like that, pharmacies and everything. having someone singing on their lunch break, or having, you know, kind of a feeling of normality really helped. And I'm just happy that I got to provide that. And, you know, and once again, I, you know, provided the music, they provided me to live, really, to live. And yeah, always forever grateful. But going on to consistency, I realized that you consistently have to do something for a very long time to see results. And, you know, some people just instantly are able to get things, and that's the you know, dime a dozen. But the main thing is you really have to just be incredibly consistent with what you do. And, you know, I, as it has for me and a lot of people, I feel like it pays dividends. And you know, uh, yeah, okay. Thank you, some god. I appreciate that. That's exactly what I think happened. I was like, 10 years later, I researched that. I'm going, wait a second, they've duped me. I've based my entire like being on not drinking because of this one person. And it's like, yeah. Stuffed up. I stuffed up. I've missed out. Some you will have to join each other one day. I've stuffed up. Anyway, but if you weren't here during the part where I mentioned a couple of hours back, Steve Vai had a Japanese. He's a guitarist, Steve Vai, and one of my favorite guitarists. He had a Japanese article that basically said that he didn't eat, sleep, drink, go to the toilet unless he played a riff perfectly, like on each night of a day, whatever like that. And found out just recently in a stream on one of the interviews, it was completely not true. It was completely not true. In fact, he said, "Oh no, like you got to rest. What are you talking about?" Yeah, exactly. So these are the things that sometimes just go, wait a second, that's not what I learnt. And that actually kind of ties into what we talked about before, where it's like you can learn everything on that internet, but if you don't ask the right questions, sometimes you're not going to get the right answers to what you want. You're going to just go straight into these little pockets of information that there's so much to expand upon. You miss them. So this is during the time where internet, you know. So yeah, you know, I passed every single day. It was an incredible time, and a lot of people were really amazing. I had some very shocking experiences. Like I said before, I had a guy threaten to kill me, and that was an incredibly stressful and scary time. It it really changes the way you see things, the way you thought things were going, and to have someone kind of pull you out of that reality and bring you into kind of new reality where you're like, oh, I'm at risk. Like I can be at risk in this scenario. It really shows, you know, pretty commendable for buskers, I gotta admit, because a lot of people just, you know, even though you are a part of society and you are standing there as a civilian as everyone else, there is that feeling that you can be pressured into doing something. You're the puppet. And I think that song Dance Monkey is a perfect example. It's like Dance Monkey, Dance Monkey. Oh, it's like it literally is like, hey, dance for us. And if you're not going to dance for us, like, why are you here? Why are you weirdly standing there yelling at us with a guitar? And it's like that social norm of some people just don't understand. And they, you know, they, whether they, you know, come way too close to you, or they treat you like just some art piece on the side of the road or something. There's some incredibly shocking experiences that can happen. But like, to be honest, it really wisened me up very quickly in how to deal with people. And I find myself even at gigs and stuff, you know, dealing with a lot of people who, let's say, are intoxicated. Some Ghana, not me, not this guy, not this guy's intoxicated. Other people. All right, we've established that. But I could deal with it. And you know, you're not just dealing with people that you just walk away from. You're dealing with people who are staring at you to supply a service and getting all their energy from. And when you're doing something that maybe they're not, you know, feeling like is great or anything like that, you're going to hear it. You're going to experience some interesting moments. But you know, I feel like you just have to learn these things, even though like I would have loved to have learned these things in a better way or healthy way. It really does make the moments of when people are good to you stand out even more, because every single day I get someone who, you know, doing something out of a socially norm situation and creating, you know, something where you know, feel kind of trapped, or you feel like, oh, this is a really awkward situation that I can't get out of. Because once again, most buskers, you're by yourself. There's no one around. You don't have security guards. You don't have people, family, friends, or anything standing around you helping you out. You're just at the behest of the town. The town, you know, and that's a lot of people. And in my town, there's over 40,000 people. So even if I've done it for my a year and a half straight every day, pretty much, I'm still going to see brand new people every day. So new experiences, new types of people. And once again, I just want to pause and say thank you so much to the 4 viewers watching me right now, and to anyone watching in the future. I appreciate that so much. We're at the 2 hours and 15-minute mark. If you're not following me, I'd appreciate it if you follow me. Maybe I can say some cooler stuff on the next stream. This stream was an introductory stream to be able to kind of figure out if my camera works, if my lighting works. I've built this room up just recently, and my bro Cerebral has just entered the chat. Thanks so much, my bro. He's got the king crown next to him as well. Yeah, so it's I would appreciate you following me. Appreciate it. Give me my dopamine hit, guys. Come on, my dopamine hit. We need it. We need it. I am still alive, my girl. I am. Alive. I am live. I'm also alive. Did you, I'm still here. So yeah, busking's incredible, and I wouldn't change it. And in fact, if you asked me 10 years ago, would you be busking in 10 years and that's how you make your living? Like, what? No. I can only survive if I'm in Rod Laver Arena or traveling around the world. But life does different things. And to be honest, busking has been an incredible experience. And I'm joining the streaming route because as I'm discovering myself, the amount of energy that I have for this type of stuff, I haven't felt this energy since I began guitar back in 2012. So, you know, games are my passion, music is my passion. I've spoken about my entire, you know, musical position, and I just want to say finally, I might touch on this if anyone has questions for later. But like, yeah, music is still going strong. I've got an album out. I'm still performing gigs. Obviously, COVID is a lot less now in Australia, so so all the businesses are able to, you know, our musicians now. So I've got real world gigs. I'm performing videos and Instagrams and fun stuff, and the streaming is going to give me that kind of accountability that I've lacked for a couple of years, where it's like I've got accountability in busking and working and earning that money. But I want accountability in being able to supply content that is just fused within me. And if you check out my Instagram account, which is linked in the bio of the about page of my Twitch, and there's also a landing page where you can click on my socials and find my album there on all platforms, you'll find that I every day was creating brand new kind of songs that were mirroring some of the conversations, funny conversations I had while busking. This type of stuff just kind of pours through me, and I'd love to, on my next stream, as well as playing games, play these things, make my album, and kind of holds me accountable in making sure that I working on my album, working on these creative outlets, but also introducing a whole new community that I feel I've been a part of as much as music, which is the gaming community. And in fact, when I look at the insights of my videos on my Instagram, Facebook's, YouTube, the game and the music, when they're combined, were the most viewed. And it's when I'm joining two communities that I absolutely adore and just pushing them together. And obviously, I've been looking at, you know, streaming for many years. In fact, I think I've said it in this 2 hours and 20 minutes. We've already got 2 hours, 20 minutes. Come on, guys, you need to stretch. Guys, stretch with me. Oh my goodness. Wow. If you've been watching me this whole time, please just stretch. Don't injure yourself. Is that I used to, I've already lost where I am. That's the beauty of live. But yeah, so melding the two communities together, and it's like, yeah, so now let's just quickly, it'll be a lot quicker actually, because 2 hours 20, we're doing well, people, and I think, we're going to be doing 2 hours 3 hours a day. We're going to be trying this. But yeah, it holds me accountable, creating the album, creating music, creating content, and I'll be adding music to my live streams and then kind of chopping them up, adding them together, creating them for either TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, And you know, if you see my content, you're watching it live like you are right now, my wonderful 5 viewers, people, is that this will be the unedited version on Twitch offline, and also I'll save this as a more kind of intro, outro out and place on YouTube as a full stream on most. And also, if I'm playing a game or something like that, I would like to obviously put those in parts, as you've probably seen in many streamers. It keeps me understanding where I'm at, and also gives you be able to just select what you like. And then yeah, for Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, I'd like to like chop up and use my editing skills to actually create content, even if you've seen the stream, even if you haven't seen the stream, that each platform can just show a new facet of what you've already viewed. Maybe I'll zoom in my face, boom. That's not the camera, boom. Maybe I'll do some, you know, funny little things and stuff like that that naturally can just come up from content. And yeah, so let's go to the gaming. So gaming, and can I just say, I didn't do this on purpose. I did do it on. All right, so you see these 3 right here? We got Age of Mythology Titans, and Black and White. These are the big boxes. These are the big boxes. These are the original boxes you would get back in the day. This was actually a purchase. Well, Black and White was the first basically purchase game that I remember with my family. And boom, baby. Thank you so much. Basically, Black and White was the game that started it all for me. It was bought at a swap meet. You had a choice between 2 boxes. You go take that. You just go take that. And I will just freeze for you. But then actually I won't freeze. I'll keep going. You'll just have to catch up, underrated nerd. And also have to follow me as well. There he is. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you very kindly. Following me. That was perfect timing. Are you behind me? So Black and White, first game my family that I remember getting. And it had a choice between 2 boxes, one that was black, and you guessed it, one that was blue, one that was white. And so that ended up becoming a game that was one of the memory makers for me for the future. I keep forgetting the camera's up here. I keep looking at myself because I'm just damn gorgeous. It just, yeah, once again, you find out later that it's a god game and rare breed, especially nowadays, absolutely rare breed of game. And yeah, you got it in the big box format, which was amazing, which unfortunately, you know, other than a few kind of special editions and stuff, you know, they, as you can see, they kind of just got smaller and smaller, and then you just get this type of stuff, like tiny, you can't fit so much in them like these. And yeah, Black and White was an incredible game. So many amazing quotes. In fact, I used a quote. If you've been here since the start, you would have heard the quote. It's a whole new world out there. Absolutely a fantastic game. Peter Molyneux ended up becoming this was prior to music. 2010. This was in high school before I really started guitar or music or anything like that. I did 3D modeling. I did After Effects, Premiere Pro. I did Maya. I did Blender, and at the time, I don't think ZBrush was out, but ZBrush, kind of the classic ZBrush was out, some plugins or something. But I did all this stuff, and that was one of my dreams, was to become a kind of 3D modeler for Peter Molyneux, Lionhead, which unfortunately, disappeared a few years ago. But incredible company, Peter Molyneux. We've all got our thoughts about Peter Molyneux, but all in all, the games that he created and released, regardless of how, many things that were left on the cutting room floor and didn't make it, are still some of the best games ever made. And Black and White being one of them, Fable being another. The movies, which was completely underrated, is an incredible game. Even to this day, like when you go back to that, the process of making a movie and stuff, although pretty simple, like it's it's pretty insane what you can do. It's kind of like Movie Maker and stuff, if anyone remembers. And I'm looking at you, my brother. Is that, yeah, Black and White really housed a lot of my joy for gaming, and it showed me just literally, yes, there he is, yeah, you're back. I love it. I love it. I appreciate that. So I'll just say what I've just said while you were gone, and I'll just say it really quickly. And also, I'm now a god. You missed that, underrated nerd. I am now a god. You missed the entire stream, and we are done. Thank you all for watching. And anyway, so it just showed me the possibilities of just how games can be at that point. And I didn't learn until much later that, like, yeah, that experience of Black and White is still an incredibly unique experience that a lot of people haven't been able to replicate. There are some good God games out there, but they, you know, rely too heavily on kind of Sims mechanic or RTS building and stuff like that. They try to add all these new layers to just, you know, take it from this, that, and the other and try to combine them. Whereas Black and White was very streamlined, but incredibly deep in the way they do it. And that's just a classic Peter Molyneux. Very streamlined, but at the same time, very deep in discovering something that may be ending up implemented in a lot of games for the future. Now, Fable, you know, is one of those games that, like, to this day has some of the best quotes, best music, best characters, one fantastic gameplay. Obviously nowadays with Ghost of Tsushima and you know, Red Dead Redemption 2 and The Last of Us Part 2 and all these completely ridiculous God of War, all these ridiculously meticulous games. Yeah. Don't worry. I'll do it all in reverse, and then I'll do it fast again. Underrated nerd, don't you worry. But we're just talking about games now. We're talking about games, and please check my offline if you haven't seen the last 2 hours, and put it on 2 times speed on YouTube when it's uploaded, and you'll get it. You'll get here. But created some very streamlined games that ended up being, you know, used as templates for a lot of games. But anyway, so Black and White, and then we got Age of Mythology and Age of Mythology Titans. Now, those 2 games were the first games that I bought myself. Bought myself from Harvey Norman. And these were King Molyneux. Molyneux, why did you do what you did? So much lost potential, but one day. For any of you that don't know, please check out Cerebrial. He has, my brother and little drop here, he's created a game on Steam called Desync. You can check it out. The studio is called Foregone Studios. Foregone on Twitter. And Desync is, and in fact implements a lot of really cool, fantastic FPS games, and then touches upon brand new kind of you know, aesthetics and gameplay mechanics that have then been used and implemented in games now. So definitely check that out. So yeah, Fable, Black and White, very popular games for me as a kid. In fact, just some of the best memories as a kid is bringing friends over overnight and staying overnight and finishing a Fable playthrough in 8 hours. And going completely chaotic evil, completely, you know, just Paragon good, and, you know, just some of the best games for me personally, with how the atmosphere was treated and how you actually can build a character that then reflected its your choices within its body, and then vice versa, it actually projected that onto other people. That was such a mind-bending prospect, that the idea of that whole, like, yes, if you plant an acorn, it will grow. Fable 2 is my personal favorite. Yeah, it's my personal favorite. Fable 2 is my personal favorite. Absolutely underrated nerd, 100%. It basically just touched upon everything from Fable 1 and then just increased it to the next level. Insane. And 360, yeah, played it on the 360, and those are the days. Those are the days with the little dashboard. But Fable just opened up a whole new world in the way I saw, like, oh wow, you can actually like create believable characters, you can create music and atmosphere. Atmosphere is a massive one, and something like Bowerstone, and I can't remember if anyone remembers the kind of area between Dylan for Days. I wouldn't mind Dylan for Days. Thank you so much for following Dylan for Days. I appreciate that. We're just talking about Fable, some of my favorite personal games, and yeah, there was a place, I think it's like starts with W, Witch something, or Witch Town or something like that, where you have the those creatures that you have to kind of protect the two tradesmen, and they're going through the forest, and uh, an incredible scene. If you haven't played that, check that out, because it's still to this day like such atmosphere in some of those moments in those games. And in fact, although Fable 3 is did create so many interesting, unique things, typical Peter Molyneux, it unfortunately had a lot of problems. But one particular level that probably is the best out of all three is one of the last levels, which basically threw you into this kind of desert. I think it's a memory that it's hard to remember, but I haven't played it for so long. We'll do a playthrough. We will do a playthrough from 1 to 3, everybody. I can't wait to do that, actually. That'll be great. I haven't played those in many years. But yeah, basically you can lose all the gear that you've got over the course of the entire experience. You can lose all that armor you've built up. You can lose all that skills that you've done, and it strips you away. And I was like, whoa, that came out of nowhere. I thought I was just playing a Peter Molyneux experience, and I was like, boom, double Peter Molyneux, two-parter. And yeah, anyway, so Age of Mythology was the first games that I bought. That was a tangent and a half. And they, showed me just once again a whole new genre, a whole new way of thing. And once again, it's kind of similar to the way that Black and White kind of transferred into Black and White 2. We added some RTS elements. There was the army. Like, we are at your command. There's a yeah. Anyway, but Age of Mythology, I love, as I later discovered in life, I love Greek mythology, and Age of Mythology and Age of Mythology Titans were just the best to play. The music, the dialogue, the RTS components of Age of Empires, obviously amazing. I haven't played that for many years. I definitely want to get that remastered version. If anyone's played it, tell me if the remastered version's good. It might be willing to purchase. You're just playing Fable 2 on your 4K. Were you able to like upscale or anything using like an Xbox One S, Series S or X or anything? Have they done that? Have they done anything like that yet? Because that would be insane. I haven't seen anyone mention the series being upscaled or anything. Your PC. Fair enough. And so yeah, cool, awesome. Fable would look amazing upscaled, absolutely. And so, yeah, naturally it turned into, obviously, games that were just absolute classics. Metal Gear Solids, your Morrowinds, and these games kind of just each time one of these kind of games came out, it just completely changed the thing. Mass Effect, and once again, we got the Mass Effect Remastered Collection coming soon, which is actually basically on my birthday in May. Which I'm so excited for. Holy moly, I've been wanting to replay Mass Effect for many years, and now I've finished Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 a lot of times. But I haven't done it for maybe a decade or something like that. At least 10 years. I think when I was 19 or something like that, I think that last played. Check my Steam account, Origin account. That came a real headache to be able to purchase those things. So I'm really glad they're, all the DLC and everything. Anyone had to deal with that crap. But now, we've hit 2.5 hours. Whoa! Emojis, flames, confetti, dance. Holy crap. And 6 viewers, and we've done 2.5 hours, guys. You're the best. So much. I appreciate that so much. We're just talking about games. We're just talking about games and music and games, music, and games. And yeah, so yeah, the series like Metal Gear Solid and stuff like that just completely shifted everything. And Mass Effect, when it came out, now showed this entire system that I thought had been lost in the Fable days, where it was like your choices mean something, and not only do your choices mean something, they kind of reflect the way your character looks, and they kind of reflect how things go. Uh, hey, you have a great time at work, and you sleep well, and so much. Get you winning. Thank you so much. Underrated? No, they are. So, and I just realized, like, because yeah, once again, this is a live stream. This isn't thought out. This is just kind of introductory stream, just saying stuff. But I do remember Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic. That was the actually that was the one. I think it was prior to Mass Effect, because obviously it wasn't on the 360. It was on the original Xbox, and you know that's when you had your Halos coming out. So we had so good games that came out and just showcased just like how much you can do. Like seriously, you know, getting cinematics and getting acting and getting motion capture and you know voice work that matched movies and TV shows and stories that matched movies and TV shows. That was a completely foreign thing back in the day. You know, you would have these amazing like Baldur's Gate storylines that developed through thousands and thousands of text that you had to read, but having to put that in a kind of block that's kind of simpler but more digestible, I would deem to be really hard, you know, because you can't just like say everything in one sentence and provide, you know, instant backdrop of how the, you know, how the scene came when that woman walked into the bar and then you saw blood everywhere. And then scene, and then everyone talks or whatever. It's like you just walk in, you see a woman, there's blood everywhere, and you're like, okay. And so based on the graphics and based on how things are captured in that kind of shot, it's like it really can determine, you know, and determine what's going on without, you know. So that's why I remember those days where it was like, wow, we're really dumbing down. Yeah, we've really gone far with this, but we're really dumbing down, you know, the dialogue and choice system. But then we're creating these really cinematic tales that can be really resonant to people who just want to kind of get in, watch a TV or movie. So there's that balance that is, you know, like Kickstarter with Planescape Torment and what is it? Tides in Numenera. You know, Chris Avalon and stuff like that, creating some Kickstarters and Pillars of Eternity 1 and 2, which I backed. Brought back and harkened back to those days of CRPGs like Baldur's Gate and stuff, and like created the dialogue trees. But then once again, they have to add cinematics. They have to add, you know, full full voice VO or whatever throughout the entire experience. Or people nowadays are just so used to that they kind of go, wait, hang on a second, why where is that gone? Why are you doing? Anyway, big tangent. Hello there. Hey, big tangent. My name's Nick. How you doing? Good, big tangent. How are you doing? Yeah, pretty good. So after purchasing these games and all that, you can see right here. Now, this, I think, to me, it sounds like the most cliche, easy answer when I think about it now. And yet, there is no experience, I think, better than, for me. Oblivion ended up being not only a game that just took so many hours and so much time and, you know, created an open world after Morrowind, which was already atmosphere galore, but created it once again in a simpler way, more cinematic, more kind of like punchy. And the person who knows what I mean when I say punchy, hello there, is you know, an incredible experience that I won't forget. You know, I remember coming home and the day came out, it was released, and when did 2008 run? Oblivion, Elder Scrolls, when did that come out? I feel like it was a long time ago, but yeah, after it was like Mass Effect type time. 2006, yeah, 2006, of course. Some of the best games I remember in 2006. What do we have here? We have Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, got Oblivion, got some Call of Duties, Final Fantasy 12. Oh yeah, I do remember. Yeah, we got some Need for Speed, Carbon, Fight Night Round 3. Very poignant year for gaming. But you know, yeah, Oblivion itself was an experience where, hello, there she is. You got it. Is that I remember when my dad actually, you know, I came home and I was like, oh, okay, you didn't get it. And oh bugger, like Hopefully he got it, and I was, you know, too young to play Oblivion for sure. But you know, walking out and grabbing breakfast and seeing it sitting there. This case, actually, this case, this isn't his that he bought. This is one that I got later because I was jelly. I wanted one for myself. I ended up getting that for myself later on. It's a bit squished, unfortunately. I got it from a mum. But it's the same case, and that case was just sitting on a washing machine. Just like, I can't tell you how excited I got. And I said, "Oh my god, you got it! What? Are you serious? Oh, do you know if it works or does it work?" Because back in those days, like Oblivion and, you know, a game from Bethesda like that, once you put it on, it was like you needed the best computer to be able to run it. Like, pretty good. You know, it wasn't a crisis or anything, but I mean, you know, you wanted the best settings, because if you didn't have the best settings, you felt like, oh, it's not, you know, as the open world extravaganza that I wanted. So it's my dad, and this is where I get it from. He already had a really good piece that he was able to kind of put that on, and it was some of the best memories I have of just having that playing. And you know, obviously, the best music, characters. You got Patrick Stewart. I don't know how to do his voice. Riker. You got Patrick Stewart. You had all these like people who are actually actors now in a game, and their voices are so obviously you know, well known. And yeah, Oblivion was insane. So you had like Star Wars: Knights of the Republic for all the choices, Mass Effect for choices, cinematography, you know, your Age of Mythologies and black and whites for that kind of genre bending, you know, gameplay mechanic driven type games. And you know, you put these all to Nathan's head, and suddenly you just get like gas. You get just someone who just absolutely adores and loves games. And you know, as time went on, and actually I do remember 2006, other than Oblivion, even though there wasn't many, as I'm looking, games that I really played, it was just a really big year for, I think, a leap for like gaming technology. I think once everybody saw Bethesda create Oblivion, we got to step up our game now. Okay, literally, that's a joke for the and yeah, so from that point it was every game possible. And as obviously I got older, I was able to experience a lot more. So the Metal Gear Solid routes, which Hideo Kojima is the man. Back to my first album, I did a lot of kind of interesting things before I released it to kind of emulate Hideo Kojima's kind of like nefarious kind of, you know, creating scenarios where like, what's this company called Whale something, and then Moby Dick or whatever, and you find out it was just an anagram or some form of, you know, just like, you know, cool crazy thing where it was Metal Gear Solid all along, if you just look closely enough. But yeah, anyway, I did that, but it was definitely driven. But Hideo Kojima and Metal Gear Solid, just one of the best series obviously out there. You know, some really incredible mechanics and stuff like that, but obviously just, yeah, once again, cinematography, like, and it wasn't dumbed down. That's another thing. The cinematography was really placed with dialogue that was large. It was so notorious for being an incredibly long series of movies on top of an incredibly amazing gameplay system. And so when you're bridging those two together, you're like, that's possible? Are you allowed to do that? Are you allowed to do that, Hideo? What are you doing, mate? What are you doing? Where'd you learn this? And you know, lo and behold, it moves on to just some fantastic experiences. Right? You know, you've got now genres that got the action-based, streamlined story-based games. You've got the RTSs and the godlike games. You've got open world games, and you've got action open world games, and all these things just then now propagate into what we have now, where it's all just like taking from one another and then building upon it, right? And you know, we see it with like Ghost of Tsushima and stuff. Like, it's not incredibly unique in the way that it, you know, plays around with the open world nature of itself, and yet it had some really cool implementation of some of those things, and a brand new system like with wind targeting, which it's just so simple and yet so like, oh, okay, that's a new thing that should just be implemented from now on. Wind guide, awesome, that's cool. visually showing the world moving towards a location. It's not as dumb as having an icon that you're following Assassin's Creed style, where you're just like, oh, just go there, and you're missing everything while walking. But it creates a scenario where you're still focusing on things around, because you legitimately are watching trees or birds or whatever moving in that direction. Anyway, but yeah, my joy for games, obviously, my brother, who was actually on this stream, Cerebral. When I was a kid, we used to play like Unreal Tournament and Quake and a game called Warsaw that I mentioned actually stream. And it just that was the competitive nature that came out, the competitiveness. And I think, when I start playing, I'm not a multiplayer type guy. I have in the past like really played MMOs. Like, in fact, I think, yeah, actually, down here, first of all, we've got the Orange Box and Half-Life 2, which I need to mention. Who am I? I didn't even mention Half-Life 2. And Guild Wars. Now, Guild Wars was the game that I bought for myself later on in life, 18, 17, whatever. But that was the first MMO I played, and I legitimately played way too much of it. I didn't go on to World of Warcraft like a lot of people did, and they would spend way too long playing World of Warcraft. I didn't do that. I played Guild Wars. I didn't play it super amount. I'll look back on that time and I'm like, oh, I still didn't do super amount. I am someone that can focus really hard on something that I'm driven towards, and at the moment it's music, right? And at that time it was tennis. But yeah, what the hell? Half-Life 2, one of the best games obviously ever made. One of the best games obviously ever made. And once again, that was Gordon Freeman. That was literally the game that kind of blended cinematography without having to do videos, and absolutely high class just usage of animation, gameplay mechanics, and linear to open world mechanics, and horror to just everything. It really blended everything, and obviously it was one of the first games that introduced physics to that degree. You had like the Max Payne bullet time physics, stuff like that, but this was where you would literally watch a tech demo to be like, what? I remember specifically actually Oblivion with Todd Howard creating a tech video about so you have the emergent trees that just grow, and I play chess or whatever it was, that video. And that didn't end up happening. That was way too over the top. They just basically, what they said was that the painters were able to paint on the landscape using some tools, which now we take for granted. But at that time, during Morrowind Oblivion, they didn't have the tools to really propagate worlds in that degree. But because of the CPU power and stuff, they're able to do that memory. But Half-Life 2 really blended cinematics without the need for a movie in front of you, or without the need for incredibly motion captured scenarios that we require now. Red Dead Redemption 2, Last of Us 2, like these are extremely detailed motion captured movies that have game in them. And I, for one, love them because I really attach to characters and I really attach to storylines and stuff like that. And Last of Us Part 2, for one, has some incredible gameplay mechanics and reactions with their animation system, and all those cool things. But Half-Life 2 didn't need any of that. Half-Life 2 just said, hey, you're first person camera, and now you're just walking into a world. And it's like, wow, I really am walking. Once again, if you're watching this right now, if you haven't followed me by now, then you're just staring at this guy. Please follow me. I'd really appreciate that. And also, you can check out my album on most streaming platforms, and you can check out my YouTube, my Instagram, my Facebook, and my Twitter, and my TikTok. And I've got content across the board. So I'd appreciate if you check that out. Once again, I am a busker, I'm a singer-songwriter, I'm a guitarist, and a gamer. I play a lot of games. I'm currently working on my second album, actually, so I'd love to do that on a stream sometime. To get over that hurdle of showing my stuff. I may, do a stream where I'm just staring and I'm doing this. This is how I'm working. I'm just like, all right, and that's all you get to see, but that's okay. Talk, but yeah, I'm going to play some guitar and then I'll be right back. So that's the new Diablo 4 town theme song, everyone. Actually, this is the chord you were looking for. All right. Stay a while and listen. Like that? Stay a while and listen. Um, Thanks so much. So yeah, a lot of fantastic games that are coming out, that have been out, and I still want to find that email because at this point I feel like I'm lying, but I've told a lot of people this, so I really want to find the email, and I'm thinking it's one of my high school emails. That's why I can't find it, but I actually applied for Lionhead when I was 17, and I got an email back saying, absolutely, you can, but you have to be 18, and also you have to come to Europe and live in the Lionhead studio apartment blocks. At that time, they had apartment blocks next to Lionhead. But that email, was from Lionhead. And you had the Peter Molyneux signature at the end. I don't believe it was Peter Molyneux. I say that as a fact. But I don't believe it was. I believe it was just an admin and then whatever. And it could have just been automated. But I don't believe so. It kind of refined some of the things that I said that I was passionate about. I came second in the year 10 or 11 and 11 art creation thing. I built in ZBrush at the time, and 3ds Max. Try to find that sometime. I think it's in the box. I built these superheroes, and once again, based on everything I've just talked about, the superheroes from like Paragon Good, Chaotic Evil, and I kind of had the same character. Don't know already, I'm really into duality, into contrast, into evil, good, all that type of stuff. Black, white, obviously. Look, come on, guys, come on. It's not Sherlock Holmes, right? You can see where it all started from. And chicken chaser, he chases chickens. I don't. That's a fable joke right there for you all. So yeah, games have been part of my life forever, and I love playing them. It keeps me energized to create and do my music, because I spend a lot of hours doing music, and when you're performing every day 3 hours at a time, quite taxing. And as I'm realizing now, like, I've just talked for nearly 3 hours, coming up to 5 o'clock, so I'm going to end this stream soon anyway. But I appreciate you all listening, following me, and staying with me. You're the best. Oh my god. And we'll continue streaming every single day. Maybe not. That's special for me. That's special. But you can follow my streaming, create an extension underneath my About tab that will be live and working on that as well. It's been such an interesting time doing this stuff, because obviously I've built out this room, built this bookcase, and got all my collectors type stuff that I haven't brought out for many years. I've moved quite a few times and never brought them out of their boxes, and it just feels good to be able to. By the way, Joe Satriani, my boy, right there with a signature down thy bottom, not an Aries bottom, down thy side of thy bottom, and a beautiful paint partner Prime. Actually, the universe captured a Hubble telescope for the day of my birthday. But I want to make 3 hours on this first stream, so we're going to keep talking. Pretty good at that anyway. Haven't a dear. But yeah, so currently, I'll just talk about new things. Currently, I was fortunate enough to just recently, a few months back, or a month ago, or something like that, I got the PS5. And so, I've had access to, some of the new things. Obviously, as we see, there's not much new next-gen type content, but I got some Demon Souls, and I've been playing Demon Souls, but just for you, not for me, just for you, I'm going to restart it. I've actually played, but to restart it and get on this train of creating some content and playing through it and having fun and actually just trying to have a community of people that I can play to and not just be on my lonesome and be by myself and just be like, but be animated. And I can't wait for that as well, my girl. Thanks, sis. Appreciate that so much. And yeah, it's just you know, there's a lot of things that are coming up, and I've got a lot of games that I want to play and bring in, and you know, you got that. 100%. You have to watch that. Like, I didn't use magic. I used my sword and just timing. Now I've finished all the Souls games, so like I naturally have an inclination towards how, you know, most of the boss fights kind of appear. But as we know with Demon Souls and stuff, like even if you're prepared and understand and you go slow and all that, like things just happen. Like I was like, oh, that's a shiny orb. Goosh, blow up. Okay, cool, sweet. Dark Souls. But yeah, that'll be the first one I'm playing. But yeah, anyway, so the cool thing is I bought all this equipment for myself. This new chair, and I got a new desk. I got a new keyboard, you know, mouse pad and microphone and speakers and monitor and all these new things. Put a lot of money into this, and it's something I'm not going to take lightly. I want to do this as a way to really put myself out there in, you know, all facets. Like I already do on my Instagram and stuff, but I refine it and confine it to a specific, you know, perspective of what I am. Album drop pun. And now I want to actually increase that to a lot of the things that I enjoy. And on top of that, it allows me to be accountable for when I'm, you know, wanting to create content, and you'll get to see that live as well. So, you know, that process of me creating, if you've ever seen my Instagram videos, or if you click on my Instagram and check out my videos as of late, they're improvised. But by improvised in the last kind of, you know, the busking ones, you know, it takes about 5-10 minutes to create, to get the right thing. And then I go, okay, but they're conversation based, so I can kind of pick and choose from conversations. I think at like the hour mark or hour and a half mark talking about busking, as I mentioned, like, you know, there are some interesting people around. You all know it, but you know, when you're busking, these people are very heightened, and so you get to hear some incredibly interesting things. And you mentioned about the spider in Demon Souls. Well, I've got a song that came out recently just for the busking videos, and just this lady was just mentioning how there was a spider behind me or something. Anyway, conversations are funny, and they always end up to be interesting melodies. But I'd love to do that live on stream. And you know, as time goes on, at the moment, like I've got all these transitions that I've built. They're all custom. I've got logos. So as you saw when you followed me, and if you haven't, you're gonna follow me so you can see it. You get these little hoi hoi notifications with a guitar and a game controller logo and stuff. And it's like, I built that myself. And from custom, I've spent, you know, it felt like weeks. But actually the last 5 days, just spending, you know, up until 3 a.m. every single day, building out what the program I'm using, which is called Streamlabs OBS, and then porting it over to OBS Studio because people told me it chugged. And so I did that, but then I had to bring it all back because I realized I bought this new thing called the Elgato HD Pro 60, and that allows me to just capture straight away gameplay and not affect my computer. But that's for the console side, and I realized, you know what? Most of the games I'm going to be playing, I as well play on my PS5. It's better than my computer, and it's 60 FPS. Yes, I'm using a controller, but you know, some of those games, those multiplayer games especially, allow you to plug your keyboard and mouse in. I could be in my element. I can play some PC games from a PS5 thing, and it stream perfectly without me having too much of a headache. And I don't know how this stream looks to you guys. Please tell me if it's looking okay, because like once again, I kind of see it live sometimes, but quality-wise, I don't know how it ends up looking as a final result just yet. So this is why it was an introductory stream. It's my first time. But we've just hit the 3-hour mark. This is where I use an app that I created, like that I downloaded from Streamlabs, that I can't wait to like jump into. Press buttons and you get effects and you get all that cool, crazy stuff that all those Twitch people get. Dun, 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 cloud fairs and rain and cool stuff, and my voice goes really crazy. Whoa! And anyway, but we've reached 3 hours, and I just want to say thank you so much for sticking by. If you've stayed this whole time, you get 2 thumbs up, you get everything and more. You get double hoi hois, and I can't wait to see just tuning in, or if you are going to watch this offline. Well, today has been a good day. I appreciate you viewing it, and I shall see you tomorrow. All right. Thank you so much, everyone.